All right, Matt, so here we are ready to go. Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Experian. It's homecoming weekend. The whole town has been hopping here in Lexington. For the first time in their football history, the Longhorns are here to take on the Wildcats under the lights in an SEC primetime matchup. And hi, everybody. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, Stormy Buonantony with us as well. All right, we're excited about this game. Part of it is just the feeling around town all weekend long for Texas. What a great win last week against Oklahoma. The big question for everybody, Brock, around that program tonight is, can they carry all the positive from last week's win against the Sooners here tonight and going forward?
Well, we're going to find out in the next 60 minutes. But I think the good thing, especially when you talk to Sark this week, Texas really feels like they got back to the brand of football that they want to play. Complementary football in all three phases. A suffocating defense that's going to get takeaways. A special teams unit that created huge plays against Oklahoma a week ago. And then offensively, you kind of get the sense that they finally figured out their formula of how they want to play with Arch Manning.
The young quarterback played well. Nobody under more scrutiny in college football than Arch early this season. You did kind of a deep dive on him this week.
I really did. And I think as of late, he's done some really, really good things out there. One of those is standing tough in the pocket. This is a couple weeks ago against Florida. Keep an eye on what he does. He makes this defensive lineman miss, but he knows that he has an unblocked linebacker that is going to knock him right in the teeth. He stands tall and strong in the pocket, keeps his eyes down the field, and delivers an explosive game. That's a big league play. And then last week against Oklahoma, helps his tight end out, has the awareness to know that he's not lined up properly, gets him in the right position. Then as the offensive line whiffs up front, Arch has the awareness to make him miss and then deliver a really accurate throw. And this is a critical moment in the game. This is backed up on a third down and a gotta-have-it moment in a rivalry football game. So I really believe he's been playing some good football as late, but you see it right there. He's been pressured the 7th most in college football this year. I firmly believe it takes all 11 guys on the field to play quarterback as well as a play caller. He can't do it by himself. His supporting cast is starting to get better around him.
He needs some help. He got it last week. Will he get it again tonight in what is going to be a hostile atmosphere in Lexington? The Wildcats need a win badly. Texas, Kentucky kickoff coming up next. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Just a beautiful night here in Lexington, Kentucky. A Wildcats team under a lot of pressure, desperate for a win. Texas looking for their first true road win of the year, coming off by far their best overall performance in the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma. Can they build on that and have that carry them forward here and make this the season they all thought they were going to have at the start of the year when the Longhorns were the preseason #1 team in the country? Texas won the toss. They deferred, so Kentucky is going to get the ball first. Kendrick Law is deep to receive the kickoff, and it looks like it's a returnable kick. A fair catch. So as the Wildcats offense comes on the field, let's go down on the field to Stormy Buonantony.
Well, Dave, when I spoke to one of the Texas leaders this week, Michael Taff, he said it was interesting hearing how people were discussing his team, that going into last week, their season was basically over. They were so bad, but then they beat Oklahoma the way they did, and all of a sudden, they're so great and national championship bound again. So he said this is a huge game for them because human nature is to let complacency creep in. When people are telling you how good you are, the whole message has been about recognizing Kentucky's going to bring their best at home, pull out all the stops. And even Sark said this will be a great test of his team's maturity. Said ask anybody in the SEC, being on the road for a night game in this league is the last place you want to be.
Yeah, good stuff, Stormy. Even against a team that's lost 8 straight conference games, Steve Sarkisian and his Longhorns back in the top 25 after last week's win. The first play of the game is a handoff to Seth McGowan, who's done a really good job for Kentucky, but he had nowhere to go. Got back to the line of scrimmage. The young quarterback, Cutter Boley, in charge of this Kentucky offense.
Yeah, and he really looks like a first-time starter right now. He took over week 3 for Zach Calzada. He's just a freshman, but the one thing I like about this kid is every single time he steps foot on the football field, he's getting better.
very highly recruited young man out of the state of Kentucky. Local kid swings that pass out to McGowan in the right flat, and a nice gain to make it 3rd down and just a couple. Kentucky's got to stay out of the 3rd and long situations tonight.
They really do. 1st and 2nd down is going to be critical, and I really like that play call there by Bush Hamdan. It might seem really simple, but getting that football out to the perimeter to one of your skill players, I think, is going to be really critical, because this Texas defensive line, they are just so big, and it's really tough to run the football inside.
So 3rd and 2 on the first drive of the game for Kentucky. And Boley in the shotgun, back to throw. Again is going to hit McGowan out on the right flat with a lot of room, and he's got the first down of the game and almost to midfield. Gain of 15 on 3rd and short.
That's a really good job by the young quarterback, recognizing man coverage. You're going to see right here, this linebacker 26 is in man coverage on the running back, and he gets picked. A little natural pick by the tight end right there. It's a really good pickup by Kentucky on the first drive of the game.
So McGowan still in the backfield, really one of the best running backs so far this year in the SEC, and this time a little more running room. Seth McGowan crosses midfield and gets into Texas territory.
And you can see it right now. Kentucky, they're trying to be balanced. They're trying to run between the tackles. They're also working the perimeter. Like I said, though, Texas, they're a really big defensive front. 330 pounds, 340, 350, and they're top 5 in the country when it comes to rush defense. So Kentucky's going to have to remain balanced, but it's going to be really tough sledding inside against the Longhorns.
Texas, despite the inconsistencies on offense, their defense has just been excellent almost the entire year and going back several years. In the pocket, Boley took a hit, delivers it to a tight end coming across the field for a catch, but a very short gain there. Willie Rodriguez with the catch.
That's a really nice job of the freshman quarterback recognizing the pressure by Texas and replacing the blitzing linebacker with his tight end. Right now, this young signal caller is in a really good flow.
And they call that pass incomplete. So it must have hit the turf. He was juggling it as he came to the ground, and apparently he never secured the ball. Kentucky fans were watching a replay. They did not like the call. Man, that looks like a catch to me.
Yeah, that's a catch, Flem.
Wow, and they did not review it. So Boley in the pocket, throws, and that pass is caught, and a nice move upfield. Hardly Gilmore with the catch and run for another Kentucky first down.
It's a really good job by the quarterback recognizing what Texas is doing here defensively. They show pressure early on with the double mug look, but then they drop out to the stick. So this is a quarterback that's not forcing the issue down the field. He's taking what the defense is giving him and picking up a couple good first downs here on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, so maybe this redshirt freshman, the local kid Cutter Boley, is starting to gain a little confidence inside the Texas 40. First drive of the game. Boley's going to roll right. Looking to go downfield. He will throw it, and the pass was juggled and still caught. And Henry Boyer almost dropped it. It looked like a perfect pass to me, but he hangs on. Kentucky first down.
Yeah, that was excellent concentration by the big tight end, Henry Boyer. Usually used mostly just in the run game, kind of like an in-line blocker here for the Kentucky Wildcats, but he's able to sneak right out the back door. And once again, Boley really in a great rhythm here on this first drive.
He took a good hit from Jelani McDonald as he was juggling it and still secured the catch. So a gain of 14. And they hand off this time Dante Dowdell, the second running back. They got 2 running backs at Kentucky that they really like inside the 25.
We'll see if Texas is able to hold up here. This really reminds me to the beginning of the Oklahoma game a week ago, where Oklahoma just marched right down the field, but when they got into the red zone, Texas started to dial up their pressures. They started to affect the quarterback, and they were able to hold their opponent to 3 points.
McGowan alongside Cutter Boley. On second down and 8. Boley a little shoulder fake. Now the pocket starts to collapse. Boley's going to turn it the other direction. Cutter Boley goes into a slide, and they're going to spot him about a yard short of the first down.
Well, that was a great individual play by Cutter Boley, but you have to give his offensive line a ton of credit. Watch this pass protection here. He is given all day against one of the best defensive lines in all of America, and then he shows off his athleticism and makes a big-time play for the Wildcats.
Now the fans now realizing that, and they're booing loudly, that they spotted Kentucky short of a first down, but he started that slide before the first down mark. He's going to go under center and try to push it ahead, and I don't know. I mean, he needed it looked to me like he needed a full yard, and he is not going to get it there. Wow. He needed more than a yard. That was 3rd and like 2, and they acted like it was 3rd and an inch. So now it's 4th down, and Kentucky and their longtime head coach Mark Stoops keeping the offense on the field. Big play on the first drive of this game.
Yeah, there's no hesitation by Mark Stoops. He understands what this football game means to this football program, this home crowd here on homecoming. I expect to see them give it to the big running back here or go with another quarterback sneak.
You got Dowdell in the backfield. Boley under center again. And he's going to hand it off to Dowdell, who gets met. He's pushing his way forward, and I don't know. It's going to depend on the spot. He had good effort there, and they're going to have to sort this one out. Anthony Hill Jr. is such a good middle linebacker. Came in and hit him, and it does not look to me like he got the first down. They're going to signal Texas ball.
What a stop by the Longhorns. I would have loved to see Kentucky try to get that football out to the perimeter with how stout Texas is inside. But you got to give a ton of credit to this Texas defense holding up. Anthony Hill Jr., one of the best linebackers in the country, comes completely unblocked. And it's Texas football and Arch Manning when we come back.
Well, an 11-play drive, more than 5.5 minutes. Kentucky gets nothing. So Texas's offense on the field for the first time, and Arch Manning, coming off the best game of his college career last week, has the ball for the first time.
Yeah, he really was excellent against the Sooners a week ago, and I think he's progressing the right way. I really think early on in the season he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. It's so easy to press in moments like that, but he's really gotten into a rhythm the last couple weeks, and I really think he's finding his footing as a college football quarterback.
Kind of a power formation on the first play of the game, and Manning will give it to Quintravian Wisner, who also had a big game against the Sooners. The run game really helped open things up for Arch.
I think it more than helped. The run game for Texas is where this entire offense starts under Steve Sarkisian. If the run game isn't there, you're not able to do your play action shots down the field. You're not able to remain balanced. With Wisner getting hurt week 1 against Ohio State and C.J. Baxter in week 3, the run game finally found its footing a week ago.
In the shotgun on 2nd down. Manning, little play fake, rolling right and looking downfield. His pass was deflected. So incomplete. Intended for the tight end Jordan Washington, but that pass was tipped. So right away, Texas is going to face a 3rd and 8.
That was a really nice job of defensive end Humphrey Grace, number 90. You're going to see the big fella get his hands up when Arch Manning goes to throw the football. That's a great job forcing a 3rd and obvious passing situation here. We'll see if Mark Stoops and Brad White elect to heat up the young quarterback here on 3rd down.
Texas has not been a great 3rd down team so far this year. On 3rd and 8. Pressure starts to come. Manning's going to take off. He's got all kinds of room out in front. And he gets the first down, goes into a slide. Well, Kentucky didn't account for the quarterback.
Well, and you have to with Arch Manning, because not only does he have a fantastic arm, but he can be very dangerous with his legs, a superb athlete. Kentucky's playing man coverage, so all of the defensive backs and linebackers, their backs are turned to Arch Manning. So when there's nothing open downfield, Arch does the next best thing, tucks the football, and picks up a big-time first down.
He is a big, strong dude, but he can move. 1st and 10 Longhorns outside their own 30. Wisner in the backfield. Manning back to pass on 1st down. Rolling right, and he's going to throw the ball away.
Well, and this is a little bit of what's plagued this Texas offense thus far. Just on that last play, there was nowhere to go with the football down the field. None of the receivers separated, and the offensive line gave up pressure early in the down. And I said it in the open tonight, you can't play quarterback by yourself. It takes all 11 guys on the field, as well as your play caller. As you see Steve Sarkisian give his young quarterback the play call, it's a group effort, and this offense is very young. You look at the offensive line, there's 3 underclassmen. You look at the wide receiver room. Of the top 6 producing guys, 5 are also underclassmen.
By the way, Texas A&M Arkansas, that game has moved over to ESPN News. Competitive game in Fayetteville after the long weather delay. A swing pass out to Ryan Wingo with the catch and run, knocked out of bounds a couple, maybe 3 yards short of the first down.
And that's a really good pickup on second down to make this more of a third and manageable situation for Texas. Texas on third down, if they can live in 3rd and 4 or less, they have their whole playbook available to them. They can run the football, they can throw the football, or even dial up a QB run with Arch Manning.
So 3rd and 3, Manning will come under center with Wisner behind him. Pitch to Wisner. He's going to pitch it back. Then back to Manning. Pressured. Throwing. Incomplete. Well, they tried a trick play on 3rd and 3, and Kentucky was ready for it.
Boy, they were more than ready for it. You got to give a ton of credit to the nickelback, number 12, Scott. He was excellent with his eyes in coverage. Wasn't fooled for a second. Stayed home, read his keys, and you see him right there, staying right over the top of the tight end Endries, who Arch Manning was trying to hit down the field with a little trickery.
Yeah, Rashid Scott with a really nice play. So now Scott, after making the play on defense, he goes back to return the punt for Kentucky. That's how versatile he is. They punt the ball, but the play stopped. There is a penalty flag. Now it's 4th and short. Penalty against Kentucky.
False start. Kicking team. Not all players are set. 5-yard penalty.
Against Kentucky would have been a disaster. It wasn't against Kentucky. So it's still 4th down. And they're going to send a different punt returner back this time. Ty Bryant will go back to receive.
What a great player Bryant is here for this Wildcat team. Local kid from Lexington. One of the stars of the defense, had a monster game against Ole Miss earlier in the season with 2 interceptions. And he's also a dangerous returner.
And remember, Ole Miss, a team we just watched earlier this afternoon, nearly go to Athens and knock off Georgia, top 10 Ole Miss team. Ole Miss almost lost on this field early in the season. So as down and out as Kentucky has felt. Another flag thrown. The punt is angled toward the sideline and out of bounds. I don't know if that is exactly what Texas was looking for from their punter Bomeister, but another flag on the play. It's 2 straight plays. Punts with a penalty thrown, and another procedure penalty against Texas.
I think it's a legal formation. I only saw 6 guys on the line of scrimmage.
The illegal formation kicking team. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty to be assessed at the end of the kick. First down.
So they will allow the punt to stand and assess that penalty at the end of the kick. And Kentucky's going to have pretty good field position when we come back to Lexington right after this.
ESPN College Football is presented by Experian, your big financial friend, a BFF for life. When you're tackling life's big financial moments, it's good to have a big financial friend on your team. Ready to take control of your finances? Download the Experian app now.
Cutter Boley, the young quarterback for Kentucky, grew up around here. I mean, he's a true local kid. Grew up a diehard Wildcats fan, football, basketball, all of it. Great athletic family. Man, his sister could really hoop. She was a star for Oregon. It's his 5th career start, so he's still really inexperienced. He was recruited, Brock, by almost everybody out of high school. Went to Lexington Christian Academy, just a couple miles from campus. Decided to stay home and play for the Wildcats. And looking for a huge win. Kentucky needs one badly. Dante Dowdell, nice start to the drive for the Wildcats.
And you know, just to finish up with Cutter Boley, you know, I think he's really going to be a big-time player. He's just young. He's getting his feet wet. He's made some, you know, first-time starter mistakes throughout the year, but then he's also shown some really elite plays on the field. So I think just the more confidence he gains, which will happen naturally with the more reps he gets out there as a starter, he's just going to get better and better every single week.
It was interesting talking to the Kentucky coaches about him, because one point that they made is just the hype around him when he signed with Kentucky. Throws this one down the right sideline, and a great effort to make the catch by Gilmore, but he couldn't hang on. It's incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down and a yard. The point the coaches were making about Boley was think about Arch Manning and the pressure on him locally, nationally, maybe not nationally with Cutter Boley, but similar kind of pressure when he showed up here on campus.
Without a doubt, especially here locally. I mean, you think about Cutter Boley, big-time recruit, 4-star kid. He had offers to a lot of the powers that be in college football, but decided to stay home and try to resurrect this Kentucky program.
Like, this guy's going to be the savior. It's a hard thing for a young man. Running back motions out of the backfield on 3rd and short. Boley dancing around is going to go deep, and that one's incomplete. Intended for Gilmore again. Good coverage by Gilbo.
And not just by Gilbo, that was fantastic coverage across the board for the Texas secondary. You saw there Cutter Boley, he had to work all the way from left all the way to the right side of the field trying to find an open wide receiver. Just absolutely nowhere to go with the football down the field. Give a lot of credit to that Texas defense.
Well, that's going to be frustrating for Kentucky. First drive, go all the way down the field. 3rd and short, don't get it. 4th and short, don't get it. Now here, 2nd and short and 3rd and short. 2 chances, don't get a yard. And have to punt the ball back to Texas. Fair catch for the Longhorns by Ryan Niblett. So Arch Manning and the Longhorns offense back on the field here in Lexington after this break. Well, Texas's sophomore quarterback Arch Manning, maybe the most famous player in college football. It goes back to when he was a really young kid. You know the last name, but it wasn't just that. It was the pedigree as a prospect in New Orleans in high school. Back up for a couple of years for Quinn Ewers. Did start 2 games last year. 2 career starts, preseason Heisman favorite. It was a lot to put on Arch Manning. He and the Texas offense had the ball for the 2nd time last week. Completed 21 passes, a career high against the Sooners in a huge Texas win. Down the right sideline, and penalty flags come in, trying to hit Ryan Wingo. And Jonquist Hardaway with the coverage. JQ commits a penalty.
Pass interference. Defense number 6. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, that's really nice recognition by Arch Manning. He recognizes Ryan Wingo, who's definitely his vertical threat in this wide receiver room. In a one-on-one man-to-man matchup, gives him a chance outside. The football's underthrown, but I love how Wingo plays back on that football. Easy call for the officials with Hardaway not getting his eyes turned back to the ball.
Kentucky is a little thin at the defensive back position. They were hoping to have DJ Waller back, a Michigan transfer. He's a really talented player. He went through warmups, tweaked a hamstring, so he is not going to play tonight. That's not good news for the Kentucky defense, who swarms Arch Manning here and gets the sack. Cam Olds was there. Tavion Gadsden was there. Kentucky has not piled up a lot of sacks this year. They get one here.
Well, that was a sack party in the backfield for half that Wildcat defensive line, but it's really Gadsden right here inside 94 that gets the party started, and then there's some pressure from the 2nd level. And this goes back to what's been plaguing the Texas Longhorns. Arch Manning cannot do it all by himself. His offensive line has been subpar. His skill supporting cast is very young, and here we go with a 2nd and long after the sack.
Loss of 10 on first down. Back to throw, swings it out to Weisner in the left flat, and he'll turn it upfield. Takes a couple big hits and got close to the original line of scrimmage. So he got 8 yards on 2nd down, 3rd and long.
And this is not where the Texas Longhorns want to be. They want to be in 3rd and short, where they have the ability to get Arch Manning outside the pocket or run the ball. I really expect Brad White and Mark Stoops here to dial up some pressure on Arch Manning to make him make a quick decision here and try to get this defense off the field.
Third and 12. Manning with a 3-man rush, and the pressure got there anyway. Throws back across his body, and a beautiful delivery to Wingo for a Texas first down.
Well, and that's why I was expecting Kentucky to bring pressure, because if you let Arch Manning get outside the pocket with a 3-man rush, that's where he's most deadly. Excellent job of finding Wingo in the soft spot in the zone.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Some quick tempo after the first down. And Weisner gets the carry outside the 45-yard line for a gain of 4.
This is just too talented of an offensive unit for Texas. If you don't speed up the clock for Arch Manning, if you don't make him uncomfortable somehow, some way, and he can get outside the pocket, he's going to hurt you tonight.
Play fake to Wisner, throws it to the left side, and that one's incomplete. Livingston had a chance. Good coverage there from Nichols. Incomplete.
That was a really good job of Nichols recognizing Arch Manning, getting that football out of his hand quickly, and just driving on the hitch route. There was no hesitation. Great instincts by Nichols on the outside. Kentucky rushed 3 last third down. We'll see if they bring some pressure here.
We got Wisner split out as a wide receiver on the right side. The crowd's starting to get a little louder as this first quarter goes along. Wisner is going to motion back into the backfield and then go to the other side of the formation. Manning throws incomplete. Well, he had Wingo coming across the field. That pass was a little bit high. It's 4th down.
And that's a throw Arch Manning just has to make. This is an excellent play call by Steve Sarkisian. Kentucky's playing man coverage. This is exactly what you want. You want crossing routes. You want mesh patterns. You're going to see Ryan Wingo pop wide open. That's a throw Arch Manning needs to make on 3rd down, because that was going to be not just a first down for Texas, but probably an explosive game.
So 2 drives, 2 punts for the Longhorns. See if they can get the punt unit lined up properly this time. They do. And Bomeister with Bryant back around the 15. He muffs the return. He didn't catch it cleanly. The ball's on the turf. And I think one of his Wildcats teammates fell on it. They did. So Kentucky avoids a disaster. Ty Bryant almost turned it over.
Well, that would have been catastrophic for the Kentucky Wildcats. You see it, you just got to wonder if he lost it in the lights. But Grayton right there, number 30, excellent job at diving back on that football and saving this possession for Kentucky.
Yeah, that was a good save by Grayton. It hit him in the face mask, so that does make you wonder if he just somehow lost the ball.
Yeah, and Ty Bryant's been a really solid punt returner throughout his career, so you just got to wonder if that one was lost in the lights.
All right, Kentucky has the ball for the 3rd time. They'll hand it off right side, trying to turn the corner and couldn't do it. Seth McGowan with the carry. Jelani McDonald's been flying around the field in this first quarter.
Yes, he is a veteran on the back end for the Texas Longhorns, somebody who's played a ton of football. And I tell you what, this Texas defense, they've just been suffocating the last couple weeks. They are so difficult to run the football against. I mentioned it earlier in the telecast. They're top 5 in America right now at shutting down the run.
2nd and 14, a loss of 4 on that first down carry. Boley slings it out right side, and then the turn upfield by Macklin. That was a nice little move, because instead of maybe like 4 yards, he got an extra 5 or so. He ends up getting 10.
That was a huge play by Macklin. It looked like it was just going to be a little routine 5-yard hitch route. Macklin does a great job of making the first one miss, and now all of a sudden you have a 3rd and manageable here with a 3rd and 4.
Under 3 minutes to go first quarter, and so far for the Wildcats, a competitive game, and Kentucky is just so desperate. They need to win badly.
Texas showing pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky calls a screen here just to get the football out of Boley's hands.
They showed pressure. They do get it out of his hands quickly. They didn't necessarily bring the pressure. Macklin with another catch, and I think he did get just enough for a Kentucky first down.
That was a really nice job of Macklin going all the way down to the turf with his hands to pick up that football by Cutter Boley. That's a ball Boley needs to put on his wide receiver's face mask. But nevertheless, good job of Macklin making a couple plays early on in this series.
Well, for Boley, 6 of 9 to start this game. He looks like he's got a pretty good rhythm going, despite that errant last throw. He rolls left, dumps it down to Rodriguez, and Rodriguez, the tight end, looking shifty out there. First down Wildcats.
Yeah, Rodriguez has definitely been one of the bright spots for this Kentucky offense throughout the first part of this season. But check out the perimeter blocking here on this first down call. An excellent job by the receivers outside. That's Law and Macklin just blocking their tails off, being selfless for their tight end and their offense. It was a really nice play. And this Kentucky offense early on, I like the rhythm that Bush Hamdan has this offense in.
Feels like Mark Stoops football. Everybody's got to do their job. Got to be physical. Got to block. This guy is the winningest coach in Kentucky football history. Longest tenured coach in the SEC. A little flip forward pass to Kendrick Law coming across the formation. Well defended by Texas. Short gain on first down.
Like I mentioned, I think Bush Hamdan's doing a really good job here early on tonight with his play call selection. We'll see what this penalty is.
Illegal shift.
I didn't see the flag come down, but it's against Kentucky. I didn't hear the microphone. Was that an illegal shift?
Yeah, that's an illegal shift, and not exactly sure why. It looked like everybody was set before that football was snapped after the shift and then the motion. But regardless, you see Coach Stoops, he's not happy about it. He definitely does not agree with this call, and it's just so difficult when you're going backwards on first down.
How could you tell he wasn't happy? He doesn't really hide his emotions.
He's not going to, and we talked about earlier, this is a critical game, and when you're going backwards on first down, it just makes it so difficult against this Texas defense.
Yeah, 1st and 15 for Kentucky. Dowdell in the backfield. Boley's going to throw, and incomplete. Good break on the ball there. Intended for Macklin. That was Malik Muhammad, who had the 2 interceptions last week, was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Here's Bush Hamdan, the offensive coordinator for the Wildcats.
I think he's done a really good job tonight, and he's got a tall task, and going against this Texas defense led by Pete Kwiatkowski, it's going to be difficult. And these two know each other very well. They were at Boise State together when Bush was a player, Pete was a coach. Then they were both coordinators at the University of Washington. But I like what Hamdan's doing early on.
2nd down and 15. Handoff for Kentucky, and a nice run by Dowdell. They've got 2 running backs who can go. Dowdell almost to the 45. He got 9. So similar to earlier on this drive. 2nd and long, 3rd and more manageable.
And I like what Kentucky's doing here. They're playing with a little bit of tempo. This is something Oklahoma did early in the game last week, and it really was advantageous for them catching Texas off guard.
This will be interesting whether they actually run a play. I don't think they're going to. They don't have to. They can let the first quarter wind down. Coley's looking to the sidelines like, you sure that's what you want me to do? You sure? We don't want to run a play here. We're sure. Yeah. So there go those final seconds. And for Kentucky, they're playing at home under the lights with a big crowd here on homecoming weekend. Arch Manning and the Longhorns in town. So far, Kentucky's held serve. 0-0 as we go to quarter number 2.
Scoreless back here in Lexington. Coach Stoops, I saw you just voicing some frustration with the officials. What were you mad about?
It's between me and them.
You said it was important to keep it close in this game with Texas early. How do you pull ahead now?
Well, we're playing good on all sides. We got to be good in critical moments. You know, the 3rd and short and 4th down, we got to get some points there. To credit them, they stopped us, but we got to be more efficient. I like the way we're moving the ball. We just got to continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Stormy, thanks to Coach Stoops, and right away one of those critical situations I think that Mark's talking about. 3rd down, Texas brings pressure, and a throw is caught, and I think he got a foot down. Kendrick Law, what a throw and catch for a first down Wildcats.
Excellent route, even better throw by the young quarterback Cutter Boley against extreme pressure. Texas brings 6. Boley gets the football out of his hand. Excellent throw and catch for a fresh set of downs.
They got 12 yards to convert. They wanted to go fast, but they substituted. And Mark Stoops is going, well, wait a minute, now you're holding them too long. He wasn't happy about that again. A throw short on first down, and that is caught by the running back Seth McGowan for a short gain.
Now that might look like a minor completion there, but when you have a freshman as your quarterback, that's a sign of growth. He wanted to get that football out of his hand quickly to the perimeter. Nobody was open. Doesn't panic, checks it down to his back. Going back to the 3rd down play. This is the catch by Law. It was an excellent route, even better catch. You see him stretch his frame out there and get the toe tap.
That's one of those where if there's any little bobble, it's not going to be a completed catch because your next step is going to hit that out of bounds line. You got to squeeze that thing and control it. And he did. So the handoff to McGowan on 2nd down sets up 3rd and close to 5 coming up.
And with Kentucky being in plus territory here, just inside the 40-yard line, you have to wonder, is this 4-down territory? If it is, don't be surprised if Kentucky either elects to run the football with Boley or just works a quick perimeter screen.
This is emblematic of what Mark Stoops just told Stormy. They've played well in this game so far, but have not converted a couple opportunities. You got McGowan out as a wideout. Pressure got picked up, and Boley on the move. Now he's going backwards. So he takes the sack instead of throwing the ball away, and that probably eliminates any chance of going for it. Texas's defense comes up with a big play.
And that is just a critical error by Cutter Boley. You can't have that in this moment. You have to throw the football away. I get it. Texas does a great job in coverage. There's nowhere to go with the football down the field. You can see there's no one open. But park the football, save the field position, and give your head coach, you can see it right there. Coach Stoops is saying, hey, give me a chance to go for it on 4th down or try a long field goal.
They lost 5, so on 4th and 10, they're not going for it. Well, Ross, the punter, landed it inside the 5, but it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So Texas trying to get their offense going. Kentucky a little frustrated with how this game is going. No score. That's pretty interesting. Thanks, Matt. Back here to Lexington. Play fake for Arch Manning, setting up a screen to his tight end with a ton of room. Down the left sideline, Jordan Washington. A big play to start the Longhorns drive.
Love this play call by Steve Sarkisian to get the drive started. No better way to get your young quarterback in rhythm than calling a tight end screen. Washington does a great job, but look at the kick out by big 74 right there. Gooseby does an excellent job of getting the play started. And then Washington does the rest down the field.
Their tight ends, Texas's, are not small.
No, they look the part, no doubt about it.
25-yard catch and run for Washington. Manning across the middle, and he hits Washington again for another completion across midfield. So that took 2 plays from the 20 to Kentucky territory. I know, I beg your pardon, that ball was not caught.
Yeah, we were down on the field pregame, and we were standing right next to the Texas tight end room, and I looked at you and I was like, hey, all these guys look like NFL dudes. I mean, just completely looked the part, super athletic. You can see what they can do with the football in their hands.
So 2nd and 10 for Texas, still on their side of the field at the 45. Longhorns trying to put together a drive. They have not possessed the ball much in this game. Kentucky swarms to the ball there, and they gobbled up Ryan Niblett, trying to get him out in space. He loses 3 yards.
That was fantastic pursuit by this Kentucky defense, in particular number 9 Watson and 20 Nichols. You're going to see them just fly to the football. And Texas is playing a lateral football game right now, really struggling getting things going north and south, just trying to dial up some quick throws for Arch Manning. But you got to give a lot of credit to this Kentucky defense being really stout. And right now they're showing pressure here on 3rd down after getting burned with a 3-man rush earlier in the game.
They don't bring pressure, though, just a 4-man rush. Manning across the middle. You give him time, he shows off all that arm talent. 1st down, Texas.
How about that pass protection? Read and throw by Arch Manning. Excellent job finding DeAndre Moore right over the middle of the field. Perfect pocket for the quarterback, and that's what I'm saying. On 3rd down, if you don't speed up Arch Manning, he will beat you.
Now he'll take off and slide to avoid what could have been a big hit. So a short gain on 1st down, but avoids the sack.
You think back to the difference in the Oklahoma game a week ago. It was the success that Steve Sarkisian and this Texas offense had on 3rd down against the Sooners. And right now you're seeing that against Kentucky. It hasn't been great on 1st and 2nd down. Eventually Brad White is going to need to speed up Arch Manning on 3rd down.
Has been interesting that they haven't really brought much pressure in this game. Manning rolls out right, dumps it short and caught, but nowhere to go for Jack Endries, the tight end. So another 3rd down coming up here for Texas. Still scoreless. We're 5 minutes into the 2nd quarter of this game.
Well, and here's the cat and mouse game. Kentucky, do you drop 8, play the sticks, and try to force a field goal here, or do you try to speed up Arch Manning, bring some pressure, and force the football out of his hand quickly?
Christian Clark, the running back. That looked like a designed run for Manning. He had nowhere to go. Kentucky was all over that. Davron Rayner from his middle linebacker spot was right there to put a hit on Manning.
Kentucky finally brings pressure on 3rd down. It's an all-out pressure, cover 0 behind it, and there's just no lanes for Arch Manning to run on this quarterback draw. Great job by the Kentucky defense.
So 4th down. Texas moved the ball from deep in their own territory, so they changed the field position game, but ultimately come up empty. Bomeister, the punter, and Bryant still back there. Bryant is going to signal fair catch, let it go, angled toward the corner. That's a nice punt, just well executed by Bomeister. That's going to pin Kentucky inside its own 10-yard line. Nothing score. 9:04 to go, first half. All right, let's take a look at our playbook brought to you by Modelo.
Yeah, I really want to show you 2 examples of why it's so difficult to go against this defense. Here's the first 3rd down of the game. You're seeing a zone look, right? A zone shell out of Texas on 3rd down. No, at the snap of the football, they play man coverage and bring pressure. They force a field goal. Then later in the game, same down and distance. They show pressure at the snap, but instead they rush 3. They drop 5 guys to the sticks, and they put a lid on the defense. Same exact down and distance, 2 completely different looks by the Texas defense. One of the main reasons why that man right there is one of the best defensive coordinators in the country.
One of the best, Pete Kwiatkowski. And it doesn't matter how many good players they lose off their defense. It just seems like he's able to, because I'm with you. I love the point you make there. It's not just getting new talent to replace the guys you lost to the NFL. It's teaching young players how to do some pretty complicated stuff. And Boley on the first play of the drive. It's not going to be a safety. Texas body slammed him in the end zone, but they'll say that he was in the grasp at the 1-yard line. Well, good timing for your package on the Texas defense.
Well, this is just a young quarterback not understanding his pass protection. This linebacker for Texas, he is free. He is not accounted for in the pass protection. You can tell Cutter Boley has no clue, and he's very, very lucky that was not a safety.
Man, Trey Moore was like suplexed him.
And then, like I said, that's just a young quarterback not understanding his pass protection.
And now Kentucky has to go in sort of total defense mode, pinned at their 1-yard line. And at the end of the play, a little extra physicality there with the young quarterback who's not going to back down. They do say, you know, Cutter Boley's got this chill personality, kind of looks like a California kid, even though he grew up in Kentucky, real even keel. He's a pretty tough kid.
He's got a great personality, and you're right. I think he's tough as nails. I saw him take some big-time shots on film this week getting ready for this ball game. He always pops right back up. And you see him here. He's in a really tough situation on 3rd and 15. Needs to be smart. I would assume Bush Handom here is just either going to call a quick run or a guaranteed completion to try to make this a better punt situation for his special teams unit.
He was begging for a play call. And they'll hand it off. Texas was ready for that. You can understand why Kentucky did it, though, on 3rd and very long. From this part of the field, Dowdell just a couple yards, and now the Wildcats have to punt the ball right back to the long line.
And if you're a Kentucky fan, you have to be getting a little bit frustrated, I would assume. You know, your defense is playing their tails off. You've shown some good things offensively, but then you just keep kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and you just wonder, when is Texas going to wake up, start putting points on the board? How long can you hang in the game? You have to start taking advantage of these moments.
Kentucky's got to feel like we should be leading this game. They had 2 different 10-plus play drives already with 0 points to show for it. Now this drive almost gave points to Texas with the near safety from the end zone. Punt and no fair catch signal. So returnable, and Niblett, who had one last week, there he goes. Cuts it inside and all the way down inside the 10. Man, Ryan Niblett is so dynamic in the return game. 46 yards. It's going to be 1st and goal, Texas.
I tell you what, this sophomore wide receiver out of Houston, Texas, he is special. Took one to the house last week against Oklahoma, 75 yards, and you see here tonight, he's going to make the first one miss. I think his return unit did an excellent job of setting up a seam for him, but you can see the breakaway speed that he has. And here's a great shot from the progressive pylon cam, just as he was inching towards the goal line. I tell you what, he's one of the most dynamic playmakers in all of America, and he's just getting going.
I give Aiden LaRosse, the punter, credit for trying. Niblett almost broke him in half with that move. LaRosse almost died on the field there.
That kid's special. I tell you what.
Weisner behind Manning. Would be an understatement to say best starting field position. Arch is going to quarterback keep it with some power all the way down to the 1-yard line. And Texas had started at their own 10-20 or inside that all 3 possessions until now, where they start 1st and goal.
Yeah, and they're certainly taking advantage of the field position. Great job on the punt return, and now you're inside the 5-yard line. Kentucky definitely has to be aware of Arch Manning and his ability to run the football in the red zone as well as 3rd down and short yardage. He's the leading rusher for the Longhorns right now.
They're going to bring him under center here. And a play fake. Manning looking to throw and will just throw it away. Well, they threw the ball on 2nd and goal from the 1. Now it's 3rd down.
Yeah, that was an excellent job by the safety, Ty Bryant. Did a great job at reading his keys. He was right there to cover the tight end out of the backfield. Texas trying to do a hard play action, getting Kentucky to bite up. Great stop by the Wildcats.
So 3rd and goal. Well, this would be something if the Wildcats could keep Texas out and force Steve Sarkisian to make some kind of decision.
They have to be alert to Manning running the football.
They'll take the snap and hand it to Weisner. Left side, touchdown, and the ball came out. Texas might have fallen on it in the end zone, though. DJ Campbell. Weisner, the ball came out. Now, I don't know if he broke the plane before that. The ball is on the turf, and the officials are trying to sort this out.
Tell you what, that was an excellent job by Cam Dooley coming up and getting his shoulder right on the football.
All
right, we never got the touchdown signal. We thought it was.
Cam Dooley, a big safety, 6'2", 210 pounds. You see he's meeting Weisner right at the goal line. On that first glance, I really think the football crossed the goal line before it popped out. It's going to be hard to tell from that angle.
And if Campbell recovered it anyway, I guess it wouldn't have mattered. That was right there at the goal line.
The previous play is under further review.
Wow. I'm with you from that goal line look. I think the ball broke the plane before it got popped out.
I really think so too, and you have to remember, you know, the ruling on the field is a touchdown, so without indisputable, obvious video evidence to overturn this call, this touchdown is going to be upheld. And right now, I just don't know if we have the angles to see anything different.
Well, we have Jerry McGinn with us, our rules analyst. Jerry, what kind of things should we be looking for on this replay?
Well, from what we see, we have touchdown called on the field. The ball does come loose, but then the offense does recover in the end zone anyway. So I believe this is going to be upheld for a touchdown. So it should be a fairly quick review process.
Yeah. That's that look there from the pylon cam on the other side. So a long look. Let's get the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
So the field position gained by Texas, the big negative play for Kentucky deep in their own territory, the great punt return by Niblett, and then the Longhorns. It took them 3 plays, but they punch it in for the first points of the night.
Well, and who sparked all this? Ryan Niblett.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the game a week ago against Oklahoma, it was really that punt return touchdown in the second half that I really feel like broke open the game and really kind of sealed things for Texas. I'll tell you what, that kid's becoming a young star in college football.
Mason Shipley for the point after try. Kick is up and good. And so the Longhorns take advantage of their special teams and great field position. And this is the kid you're talking about, Ryan Niblett. Man, was that a beautiful return. Inside the 10, Longhorns into the end zone for a touchdown, Texas. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Cool scene here in Lexington, Kentucky tonight. First time Texas has ever played here. Of course, these two teams were not conference rivals for basically the entirety of their history. They played last year in Austin, this year here in Lexington. Texas on the board first after the punt return and the touchdown and a touchback. Wildcats get the ball back, but first an update in studio with Matt Berry. Thank you, Matt. So much good college football going on from the start of the day all the way through the end of the day. By the way, it was officially a recovered fumble in the end zone for the touchdown. So Wisner did not, they did not rule that he broke the play, just for statistical purposes, but I think it's important to clarify. First down for Kentucky. Important drive for the Wildcats, and Seth McGowan forward for a gain of 4 on first down.
Really important drive. I think you need to keep pace with this Texas offense right now, getting on the board, and I'd really like to see offensive coordinator Bush Hamdan really lean into the run game with Seth McGowan and Dante Dowdle. I think they've been terrific early on tonight. They've been a little more pass heavy than they have in the past, but these backs have been terrific early on.
Shotgun snap, and the young quarterback gets it out of his hands quickly, and a first down with Josh Caddis. Nice catch and run for one of the real leaders on this team, the tight end. First down, Wildcats.
And that's what you get when the run game's going and you go a little play action boot. You're going to get safeties and linebackers to hesitate just for a second to play the run game. Really good play call by Bush Hamdan.
Quicker tempo here, handoff on first down, and that's, I think, more of what you're talking about. That's a good first down power run from McGowan.
McGowan, just such a tough physical runner. He's a true 3-down back. He can keep things between the tackles. Bush Hamdan, you see right there on the screen, really likes the two backs between McGowan and Dowdle. Both guys are true 3-down running backs.
Hand off McGowan again, and another Kentucky first down. Got right to the sticks. So they'll move the chains. First down, Kentucky.
In talking with Bush Hamdan this week, he said that Seth McGowan is his favorite player of all time that he's ever coached. He has a great story, great humility, excellent leadership. He's a top 5 runner right now in the SEC in terms of yards per game and touchdowns.
Anthony Hill, the Texas star All-American linebacker, is down. Now he's down on one knee. Anthony Hill already has 8 tackles in this game. He's been all over the place. But for the moment, looking with his head coach and the trainers around him. Hard to tell exactly what they're looking at. Right hand, right arm. Maybe. All right, so yeah, kind of holding that arm out. We'll have to see if we can get some clarification on what's going on with Anthony Hill. Obviously a very important part of this Texas team, Texas defense. So first and 10, Kentucky. And talking about the story of Seth McGowan, what this game means to him. Let's go down to Stormy on the sideline.
Well, guys, he went to Oklahoma out of college, and he was a diehard Oklahoma fan growing up. But that first year when he was at Oklahoma, he didn't get to play Texas, and he told me he's a natural ingrained hatred for the school. He has been waiting for so long to have an opportunity to play his hated rival his whole life.
And of course his story, thank you Stormy, a little flip play across the formation. Man, that one went backwards by a lot. Law, Texas just swarmed him to the turf. McDonald again. That was a loss of 8 on that play. Well, Seth McGowan, I mean, the story is not a clean one, right? At Oklahoma, got into trouble with the law. I actually spent time in prison, had to go to junior college, a couple different stops there. New Mexico State gave him an opportunity, and he's a kid that everybody around this program says has totally 180 turned his life around and learned his lessons the hard way. He takes the ball from Boley, a little short catch and completion. It's going to be 3rd and long, and now McGowan himself is slow to get up. Stormy?
And Dave, I asked Seth earlier this week how he would describe his journey, and he called it a beautiful tragedy. He said there were so many times he wished he could go back and change things, but then another part of him said he wouldn't change anything at all because of who he's become since, what he's learned through that part of his life, and he really takes every opportunity he has to pay it forward to his teammates, friends, whoever's willing to listen, to share his story, to make their opportunity better.
Previous plays under further review.
All right, well, it was a good follow-up, Stormy. Now they're going to look and see if the pass was actually caught, I guess, from McGowan. So Mark Stoops getting word about what they're looking at. So is Coach Sark. A game where Kentucky's run more plays, they've gained more yards, they've held the ball for longer.
Yeah, they're trying to see if McGowan had possession of the football and time to make a football-like move. To me, that looked like a catch. Maybe call it a fumble, but McGowan gets the ball back. This is going to be Kentucky football. The question is it going to be ruled a reception or not?
I would think so. I mean, I think he had it, and
I think he makes a football move right there with full possession.
I think so. We have Jerry McGinn with us. Jerry, what do you think? Does that constitute enough for a football move?
I believe so. He goes up in the air, he grabs the ball, he comes down, he makes a football move. He tries to juke the defense, and they tackle him, and the ball does come loose. But I believe this is a catch and will be upheld again.
Okay. Well, that's what we think. We'll see, though. I mean, it's only a difference of a few yards for Kentucky. They're facing 3rd and long no matter what. That negative play after they got a first down put them way behind the chains. And they've had a few of those, whether it's the 2 critical sacks.
After further review, the ruling on the field of the catch is upheld. 3rd down.
Okay, so it was a catch, and I'm thinking that means officially probably he fumbled it and recovered it himself.
This is going to be interesting to see what Mark Stoops tells his offensive coordinator Bush Hamdan to do here. Did you try to be a little bit more aggressive as you slowly approach halftime? You're down 7 points. Texas is going to get the football to start the 3rd quarter. So do you be a little more aggressive here and try to pick up a first down here on 3rd and long?
Yeah, I don't know the answer. Yeah, this is a tough decision how to play this.
Young quarterback, you don't want to put him in a tough spot, but if you're going to beat the Longhorns, you do have to make some plays through the air down the field.
3rd and 14, 4-man rush, and Boley on the move, and just kind of flings it up and threw it to Anthony Hill back on the field. I guess he's okay. Intercepts it, and another mistake from Boley. Instead of just throwing it away, he threw it to the other team.
What a play by Anthony Hill Jr., maybe the best middle linebacker in all of college football. Does a great job out here using all of his length, and this is a ball that Cutter Boley, you just have to park it. This ball needs to go into the 2nd row of the stadium, or you throw it at the receiver's feet. Anthony Hill Jr. is way too good of a defender to let you get away with that throw. Just a critical error by the young quarterback, and here Texas is right across midfield. Plenty of time to go get points before half, and I just mentioned it. They get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Huge opportunity for the Longhorns.
Well, what a catch, by the way, watching that replay. How many middle linebackers can make a catch that looks like that? Wisner's straight ahead run. And I said Wisner, that's Christian Clark. Clark, who's going to get perhaps some more opportunities. No C.J. Baxter. Texas was hoping to have one of their star running backs back for tonight. There's C.J. still not in the shoulder pad, so at least one more week for C.J.
Yeah, C.J.'s been out the last couple weeks with a hamstring injury, and this running back room has really felt his presence not being out there.
Clark breaks a tackle, and Clark gets a Texas first down.
You go back 2 seasons ago, and C.J. Baxter was one of the best freshmen in all of America, earning SEC honors. And with him not being out there and then Wisner getting hurt week 1, this has been a running back room that's really been hurt early on in the season.
A couple of these other guys have started to earn some more carries, including Christian Clark, who gets another one there. I think Texas would like this drive to be the final drive of the first half. They want points, but they also want to keep the ball.
Absolutely. And you see there Christian Clark, 6 foot, 212-pound freshman out of Phoenix, Arizona. I think he's done some really nice things with his opportunity. Young player, just getting started in the Longhorn uniform, finding his footing in this offense.
All right, so 2-minute timeout. Texas gets the turnover, trying to put more points on the board before halftime.
That's right, Matt Barry. Big one for the Sun Devils in Tempe. How about that?
That is pretty impressive. Arch Manning is going to go down. So Texas under 2 minutes to go here and in field goal range, except for now they're going backwards. Second sack for the Wildcats.
That was a really nice line game between Gusta and Humphrey Grace up front for the Kentucky Wildcats, 90 and 60. Excellent job of forcing a 3rd and long. And now we'll see if Kentucky's able to keep Texas out of field goal range here. If they're able to keep Texas to no points on this drive, that would be massive.
They did not use a timeout. They could have used a timeout. 3rd down and 16 for the Longhorns. Manning in the pocket is going to throw across the middle, and it's knocked away incomplete. Ryan Wingo, the intended receiver. That'll stop the clock. And Texas has a lot of faith in their place kicker, Mason Shipley. We'll see, though.
Well, I tell you what, that was a big-time pass breakup by Nichols. Excellent job. This is a young player, just a sophomore, who's been thrust into action with the starter DJ Waller out with a hamstring injury. Nichols does a great job late getting a hand in there and breaking up this pass to Wingo.
So Texas is not going to kick a field goal. They're going to send the punt team out there.
I think this is really smart. Texas gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter. You don't want to give Kentucky a short field here. You have all the momentum, pin them deep, make them drive the field before half.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's just Texas has to be really disappointed after that interception not to get any points out of that. So Wildcats offense back on the field. Before that, a quick word from Verbo.
As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa. That's the rule.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, get the vacation you expect and never a hovering host.
Homecoming crowd, all the positive energy around this town. Kentucky has controlled the ball in the first half, but the positivity from their offensive side early in the game has gone away.
It really has, and I really believe that the Kentucky Wildcats, they've done some good things on offense tonight. They've just had a couple critical errors that it's just really stalled a drive, and it shot them in the foot.
I would doubt they're going to be super aggressive here. Seth McGowan with a good run, and Sarkisian's calling a timeout himself. So Sark is going to stop the clock.
Timeout, Texas. The first of the half.
Anthony Hill, another tackle for him. Man. All right, next Saturday, SEC on ABC College Football, top 15 triple header. Ole Miss. We'll see how much their ranking goes down. They were right on the cusp of a huge win in Athens against Oklahoma. That's at noon Eastern. You got Alabama, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and LSU. Those teams have had lots of great games head-to-head over many years. 7:30 Eastern on ABC.
Don't you just love it when the SEC gets into conference play every single weekend? So many great matchups, the stadiums, the environments, the pageantry, just so fun to watch.
What did Sark tell us yesterday? The cannibalization has begun.
It will begin. Yes, it will.
Our conference, and it is just so true.
So for this situation for Kentucky, if they can just get a first down here, get the first down of the drive, I wouldn't be surprised if they put their foot on the gas a little bit here and try to get some points before halftime.
Ball will come in motion. They'll hand it off to McGowan again, and a good cut. Seth McGowan gets that first down, so now we'll see. They'll stop the clock just momentarily to set the chains.
And that's all you needed to get things going. Now you get on the ball. Now you got the clock rolling. You're not so worried about giving Texas the football back here. Now go into aggressive mode and try to go get some points if you're the Wildcats.
I mean, they like their own place kicker, so get across midfield. You at least got a chance to think about a long field goal try. Maybe 35, 40 more yards needed to throw across the middle, short. And they do have timeouts. McGowan with the catch. And we'll see if they do stop the clock. They do.
And your goal right now with Kentucky, you're just trying to get to the 40-yard line. Your kicker, Jacob Coway out of Billings, Montana, he's got a massive leg. Coach Stoops says he feels comfortable from 60 yards with this kid.
So now, yeah, you're really talking about just 30+ more yards. McGowan again short. Nice move. And McGowan gets a lot of that on one play.
Take a timeout. Take a timeout now. Save the time.
And they're rushing up to the line of scrimmage. They're not using a timeout. That was a gain of 16. They get the ball spotted. They will wind the clock. And Boley in position to take the snap. That was pretty good operation. Boley throws, and that one, a perfect delivery across the middle inside the 40. Macklin with the catch. And now I think they will use one of those last couple timeouts.
Excellent situational football by the Kentucky Wildcats. They don't burn the timeout. They get right up to the line of scrimmage. Don't waste any time. And then check out this protection by the Kentucky offensive line. Excellent job building a wall for Cutter Boley. And then how about the route outside by Jamori Macklin? I think he does an excellent job on the in cut into zone coverage by the Texas Longhorns. This is far and away the best that Cutter Boley has looked, pushing the football down the field tonight. This is an excellent 2-minute drill by the Kentucky Wildcats.
And that is the first timeout for Kentucky. So they still have 2 more. And you're right, that was handled very well. How can we put this nicely? We see some teams in college football struggle to do it that cleanly.
They really do. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to the offensive coordinator, Bush Hamden. You know, he was coached by Chris Peterson at Boise State, and I know situational football, specifically the 2-minute drive, is something that they work a lot on. And there's the kicker I was just talking about right there, Jacob Coway out of Billings West High School in Billings, Montana, and he's got a big-time leg. He is officially in field goal range for the Wildcats.
2 of you shared the secret Montana handshake before the game down on the field.
We did. It was good to visit with him.
All right, so 23 seconds. Kentucky's taken a few negative plays in some bad situations in this first half. Got to avoid that here.
Boley needs to be really smart with the football.
McGowan, the running back, he'll check down, not to McGowan, but to DJ Miller, and a quick move by Miller. But he did not get enough to stop the clock for the first down, so they will burn that second timeout.
And there's growth by a young quarterback. Texas elects to bring pressure from the secondary. The quarterback recognizes it. Boley doesn't hesitate. He gets the football out of his hands, eliminates the negative play, and makes the field goal position even better.
18 seconds. This should be something for Kentucky. They are so desperate for some positive stuff to happen. The long losing streak in conference play, some close calls where they haven't been able to break through, and just going to the locker room with a little positivity, I think, would be huge.
Well, Kentucky's in a really great position here. It'll be interesting to see what Mark Stoops does. Does he just play for the field goal, or does he try to take a shot at the end zone? Kentucky still has a timeout, so do they try to get some points here? You have a couple options. You could run the football, save your timeout, and as those sticks move and the clock stops, get them to line of scrimmage, one shot at the end zone. Or do you just kind of line up and try to make this an easier field goal for Coway?
We know it's hard to play in the SEC, but it's been more than a calendar year since Kentucky last won a league game. They're hanging with Texas, down by a touchdown. Second down and short with one timeout in their pocket. Texas brings pressure, and they'll get the sack. And now they have to burn that final timeout. Malik Muhammad came from the outside, and the young quarterback took another negative play in a spot where I'm sure they're preaching we just can't let that happen.
Well, and this is the difficulty of going against a Pete Kwiatkowski defense. You're going to see 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage. This guy is unaccounted for in the pass protection. Once again, Cutter Boley not recognizing who's in his pass protection, who is accounted for and who is not. That's a sack you can't take in that position. You're in great field position for your kicker. You can't go backwards, but you also have to give a lot of credit to this Texas defense and Malik Muhammad for getting a sack there on 2nd down.
Well, remember, he had the interception at the very end of the first half at the Cotton Bowl last week. This wasn't an interception, but it could be a point-saving kind of play for Muhammad, who's having a really good year. Even just those 6 yards, you were looking at a field goal try of 45-ish, now 50+.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And now you're sitting at 3rd and 7. You have no timeouts, 13 seconds on the clock. Your only choice here is to try to work the sidelines. You're going to throw the football. You're going to try to get some positive yards to make it a more manageable field goal. With the key for Kentucky, if you catch the football, get out of bounds. But if nobody's open, Cutter Boley, get rid of the football. You can't afford to take a sack.
And now it looks like Texas has called a timeout.
30-second timeout.
So they want to stay organized on their defensive side with 13 seconds to go. Kick off your Week 7 NFL Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, with the Countdown Crew on ESPN, the all-new ESPN app. All the early breaking stories, injury updates, and much more. And then another Monday night doubleheader for Week 7. The Bucks and the Lions special start time 7 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes. That's a really good matchup. And the Seahawks are flying high these days. They'll host the Texans at 10 Eastern.
I was just going to say, Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator, Sam Darnold at quarterback, Seattle. They've been a ton of fun to watch and definitely someone to reckon with in the NFC this year.
Jackson Smith and Jigbo, man. Well, now after the Texas timeout, Kentucky reconsidered, and you see how the young quarterback, I mean, he knows. That was.
You know, it surprises me that Mark Stoops isn't trying to work the sideline to get some positive yards, but with a young quarterback, this does make sense.
8 of 9 for Callaway. This one 53 yards. Good snap and hold, and that kick on the way. It is hooking left. It is no good. So Kentucky fails to get points after an impressive 2-minute, really 1-minute drive. And you can just see the frustration from the Kentucky coach, Mark Stoops. Nothing to show for it again.
Yeah, and that's just so frustrating. Really good operation in the 2-minute drill. Great snap, great hold. Callaway just pulls it a bit left, and it's just outside the upright.
From 45 yards out, that probably goes through.
That's a really good call, and that's why that sack is so critical. And those are the young mistakes we've seen Cutter Boley make throughout the year. Talking to the coaching staff yesterday, they really felt like he had been learning from those moments, but a couple critical errors here in the first half that have kept Kentucky scoreless.
Longhorns are going to take a knee. They will get the ball to start the second half. Texas, fewer than 100 yards of offense in the first half. Wow. And yet they have the lead. And Kentucky fans, you can understand why. They are cranky as their team goes to the locker room down 7-0 despite their defense really playing well. Let's go down to Stormy.
Coach, it seemed like their long return to set up the short field was really the only big offensive play you guys were able to make. How do you change that in the second half?
Well, we got to minimize some of the some of the negative plays. We're getting a little bit of a rhythm, then we're getting negative plays, and we're living in 3rd and long, and that's not a formula for success for us.
Defensively, repeated critical downs, you were able to get stops. What do you like most about that group?
Well, I like the fact that we're winning a little better on 1st and 10 until the last drive. We created the turnover. It was a great job playing complementary football. We punted it down there. We pinned them deep. We got a stop and got the big return. So we need to keep playing well as a team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was indeed. Thanks, Stormy. Thanks to Coach Sarkisian. That was the key sequence of the whole first half. It leads the Longhorns to have the 7-0 lead. Time to get you to studio with Matt Berry and company. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Experian. You're watching the SEC on ESPN under the lights in Lexington, Kentucky. Texas and Kentucky as we start the third quarter. Longhorns lead 7-0. Was not the most beautiful half of football that we've ever witnessed, but for Texas, some big plays, particularly in special teams and on defense. Setting up a short field for the only touchdown of the game for Kentucky. Frustration, their young quarterback wasn't perfect. They had some nice, impressive drives early in the first half that they turned into nothing. So now Texas will receive to start the second half and try to get their offense revved up. Wildcats fans, I mean, they're here in big numbers. It's Texas's first trip ever to Lexington. A lot of excitement building into this game. You got Keeneland, the fall meets going on. The whole town's full of excitement. And yet the Wildcats haven't given their fans a whole lot to get really excited about yet.
They haven't. The offense has just been flat. They've had some good things, but they just keep shooting themselves in the foot anytime they do anything good. I do think you need to give the Kentucky defense led by Brad White a lot of credit, holding Texas to just 7 points in the first half. And that 7 points came off of an explosive punt return. So really, the Wildcats defense has been excellent. They just need more out of their offense here in the second half.
So they will kick it deep, and it's going to be a touchback. Okay, Fleming, Brock Osweiler back here with you. I mean, if you told Kentucky before this game started you're going to hold the Longhorns to 93 total yards in the first half, they'd think that has to be good news.
This is the exact game that Mark Stoops wanted to play coming in. He wanted ball control. He won the time of possession in the first half. He limited explosive plays by this Texas offense. His ball club is in the game, but he needs his offense to step up. I think his defense has done an excellent job. Arch Manning hasn't done anything crazy in the first half. He's 7 of 15, no touchdowns, no picks. The Wildcats are right in this game, but they need to make a big play here early on in the second half.
You got Wisner back on the field in the backfield alongside Arch Manning, the tailback for Texas, and he found a hole on the right side. Some power running from Travion Wisner. Let's go down on the field to Stormy Buonantony.
Well, Dave, Brock mentioned the time of possession battle that Kentucky has won. They've outgained Texas by nearly double the yards, and I talked to Mark Stoops coming out of the break. He said, this is one of those games where all that's held us back is ourselves. Most of the message was, we're right there. And he said, execution on critical downs is all that's held us back. How many times have we been in 3rd and short and something stupid happens? We have to figure it out.
That was a good recap of, I can just picture Mark Stoops saying exactly that. Thanks, Stormy. Wisner right side, and on 2nd and short, Texas did not get there. So right away, the Kentucky defense is going to have a chance to get a stop.
And this is that big play that Kentucky needs. They need to get the crowd back into the game. This is a homecoming, sold-out atmosphere under the lights. They need to get some juice back into this stadium. They have a great opportunity here if they can hold Texas to a 3-and-out, get the football back to their offense. I would love to see Brad White bring some pressure here and force Arch Manning's hand very quickly on this 3rd and short.
Arch threw for just 70 yards in the first half.
Kentucky has to be ready for quarterback run here on 3rd and 2.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Looked like they were ready for it, and I don't think he got even close. He got stopped a good yard short. I mean, I think the Wildcats knew exactly what was coming there.
Well, listen, Texas really leans on the legs of Arch Manning on 3rd and short. And I thought Sam Green, number 2, the defensive end there right at the bottom of your screen, did an excellent job of setting the edge, forcing Arch Manning to cut back inside before he wanted to. And that was the exact stop that this Wildcats defense needed. Now let's see if the offense can go get some points.
That is definitely not the way that Steve Sarkisian dreamed up the second half starting for his Texas offense. Booming punt with a fair catch signal at the 20, maybe the 19-yard line. Well, the Texas defense, they did their part in the first half.
They really did. I mean, they held Kentucky scoreless, and a big reason why, I want you to see the coverage on this play. Where is Cutter Boley supposed to throw the football? Nobody's open. Receivers and tight ends, they're not separating, just blanket coverage. And then we showed this earlier, Trey Moore came off the edge. Well, he's unblocked the way that this pass protection is set. Cutter Boley has no clue. He takes a sack that you can't have. It killed the drive. And then Anthony Hill Jr., how about the awareness here? And this is a football Cutter Boley needs to throw away completely out of bounds or at a receiver's feet, but you do have to give the middle linebacker credit. Hill made an excellent play.
Anthony Hill was everywhere in the first half. And a handoff on the first play of the second half for Kentucky. Ethan Burke, the defensive lineman for Texas, he almost took the handoff himself. Dowdell had nowhere to go.
I really like Ethan Burke and the way he goes about his business. He's one of the elder statesmen in the defensive line room for the Texas Longhorns. And the guy opposite of him, number 1, Colin Simmons, draws a lot of credit and conversation, rightfully so. But I think Ethan Burke is an excellent player himself.
The Wildcats get Seth McGowan back in the game. They lose a yard on their first play of the third quarter. Boley rolling right is going to throw on the move, and that pass completed. And a tackle out of bounds. So not a real long game, but it sets up third down for Kentucky.
Boley's made some nice throws outside the pocket. And I like how Bush Hamdan keeps moving the pocket on these half rolls to give the offensive line a little bit of breather. But here's the money down, third down. This is what Kentucky needs to be better at here in the second half. The defense is keeping you in the ball game. Cutter Boley, you need to step up big. And which wide receiver can separate and make a play for this young quarterback?
Last catch, the first one of the night for Troy Stellato. Now Boley in the shotgun, 3rd and 7. Pressure comes to the right side, and he gets rid of it and completes it. That is Gilmore for a first down with the defenders coming right in his face, a gain of 10.
Well, I really like the formation that Bush Hamdan uses. He creates a bunch, and what that does in man coverage is it creates hesitation by the Texas secondary. And Cutter Boley did an excellent job of beating the blitz with the throw. There was a free rusher. He stood tall and strong in the pocket, and that was a big-time pickup for the Kentucky Wildcats.
So first down, Kentucky. We've already seen 4 minutes wind off the clock here in this third quarter. Hand off right side, McGowan. And the ball came out. Texas thinks they have it. It's still on the turf. Hill tried to scoop it, and I think that allowed Kentucky to get it back. Oh, my goodness. Anthony Hill, he tried to scoop it on the move, and he couldn't secure it.
What a break for Kentucky. This is Littleton, the nickelback, that comes up and just puts his helmet right on the football. And you see right there, you said it, Flem, he's trying to scoop and score rather than just diving on that football and securing the possession for the Longhorns. What a break for the Wildcats.
I mean, somehow it scored it away from Malik Muhammad. Then Anthony, 2 of their very best players, just couldn't get the ball. Now another run on second down for Kentucky. Dowdell. Second time McGowan has fumbled in this game. Dowdell for a short gain. It's 3rd and 4.
I'll tell you what, I do think you need to give this Kentucky offensive line a lot of credit. They've done an excellent job of protecting their quarterback. The times that he's been under pressure, it's because he's not recognizing that there's a free rusher coming. I think they've done a good job in the run game. But here we go with another critical 3rd and 4. Does Kentucky try to pick it up through the air or hand it off to the back?
Boley has time. Now retreating. Boley going backwards, gets away. He's going to try to run for it. Spins, and he got the first down. Well, some improv from the redshirt freshman. Somehow he got away from Anthony Hill.
How about that play by the young quarterback? 6'5", 220 pounds, showing off his athleticism. Nowhere to go with the football down the field. There was excellent coverage by that Texas secondary. Makes Anthony Hill Jr. miss in the open field and picks up a massive first down.
Well, that was something. Now a first down throw and into Texas territory. Jason Patterson. That has given this crowd a little juice, a play like that. That's a first down, Kentucky.
I'll tell you what, I like what Cutter Boley does, and he's shown some really good things on tape coming into the game. He's done some good things tonight. It's just those negative plays he needs to get rid of because he can be a big-time player.
Yeah, got to eliminate some of those mistakes. Those have been so costly because this is now the 4th time in this game that Kentucky has moved the ball into Texas territory. 3 different first half drives ended on the Texas side of the field without points.
That's it, and that's the issue. No points to show for it, and you have to assume Mark Stoops, you see there, getting a bit frustrated with that because his defense, they're playing a heck of a ball game right now. They're keeping the offense in it. At some point, Cutter Boley is going to have to find a way to get some points on the board and make some big plays down the field.
Another drive, almost 5 minutes long already. Dowdell in the backfield on 2nd and 9. They'll swing it out to him. Nice cut straight ahead, but well defended by Texas. Malik Muhammad, who's a good cover man, also a good tackler. It's 3rd down.
Well, and here's where things get interesting for a play caller if you're Bush Hamdan. You're inside the 45-yard line. You're down 7. Is this 4-down territory? You know he's having a conversation on the headset with Mark Stoops right now. If it is 4-down territory, I expect him to lean on a run or a quick screen. If Coach Stoops is saying, no, I need you to pick it up here, look for Cutter Boley to make a play with his arm.
Texas substituted kind of late, but they do get organized on defense. A handoff, no. A keeper, and a dive ahead by Boley. He's short, but he did get some positive yardage. So now on 4th down, I think exactly what you were talking about. I believe the Wildcats are going to go for it.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good call. Mark Stoops understands that at any moment in time, this Texas offense can get going and light up a scoreboard. They showed some really good things a week ago. So at this point in time, he's doing everything he can to go get points on this drive. I really like this decision to go for it by Mark Stoops.
Big play early in the 2nd half. Boley going to throw, and he's got the completion just enough, and he had to put the ball in an exact spot for Hardly Gilmore to come down with it. He did it.
Well, and that was just a really good job of Gilmore winning at the line of scrimmage. Boley stayed calm in the pocket. He got great protection by his offensive line, but it really all the credit goes to Hardly Gilmore winning versus man coverage, getting open for his young quarterback.
That was pretty good defense, and yet Kentucky converts. Boley, not a ton of yardage, but he's 5 for 5 on this drive. That's now eaten up more than 6.5 minutes, and they're still outside the 30. Nice move, right side. Jason Patterson giving a little spark on this drive.
I tell you what, he's a young player, just a redshirt freshman, but really making the most of his opportunities. He's really starting to flash for this Kentucky offense. It really seems like Kentucky's developing a 3-headed monster between Seth McGowan, Dante Dowdell, and Jason Patterson. And the best thing for Bush Hamdan as an offensive coordinator, they all do different things at a really high level.
2nd down and short. Another carry. This time Texas pushes Patterson backwards. He ended up losing a couple yards, maybe even 3 on that play. It's the 7th tackle for a loss by the Texas defense already tonight.
Well, that front 7 is one of the best in all of America. And I've been giving a lot of credit to this Kentucky offensive line, but that was a great play by that Longhorn defense. And here's a moment where Cutter Boley needs to mature and mature quickly. These are those times that he's made some mistakes early on in the football game that took points off the board. Needs to be smart here.
They've already had 3 conversions on this drive alone. They need another one here. On 3rd and 6, have to get down to the 24. Shotgun snap, handoff, straight ahead run, and Dowdell got just a couple yards. And listen to the fans. Field goal units coming out.
And I understand the frustration by the fans. I think they wanted to see a pass there and Mark Stoops be a little bit more aggressive trying to pick up a 1st down. But I just mentioned it, Cutter Boley, he's made some mistakes on 3rd down tonight. He's a young player. He's learning on the fly. I think it's just so critical that you get points on this drive. That was a very safe and conservative play call.
Lean on your young kicker. This is a big kick. Kentucky needs something on the board after all this offense. 46-yard try. Kick is on the way, and that one is going to hook right on through. So Callaway, the freshman place kicker, finally gets Kentucky on the board. 15 plays, almost 9 minutes, and they get 3. It's the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Más Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy this year? Maybe some of the same faces we saw over at Keeneland yesterday.
How fun was that?
I mean, it was young, it was old, it was students, it was
good
horse
energy.
Racing aficionados. It was the best of the state of Kentucky.
Yes, it was. Very special day at the racetrack.
7-3 Longhorns. The Wildcats of Kentucky finally, after all the positive things that they've done on offense, finally they have some points to show for it. They'll kick it deep to the Longhorns. Niblett back around the goal line, but that one right over his head and through the end of the end zone. The drive was so long for Kentucky, we got to take another break. 4:09 to go, third quarter. Back after this. Well, we mentioned Keeneland's going on, and yeah, we went over there yesterday. How can you be in Lexington this time of year and not do it? It was spectacular, and a million thanks to Krista, to Jenny, to Meredith, to the whole team at Keeneland for hosting us, giving us the inside tour. Steve, with the call to start, we had the phones out. We got to watch on the rail. And yeah, Stormy won a few maybe little bets that we laid down on those races. It was really a great experience.
It was such a special day, and what a beautiful racetrack. If you haven't been, you overlook a bunch of horse property and rolling hills and the leaves that change. It was just incredible atmosphere, great energy, and thank you to all the people at Keeneland for such a spectacular day.
Put it on your bucket list, whether you're a horse racing fan or not. You got to go. Handoff for Texas, and Wisner found some room straight ahead. Texas feels like an important drive for the Texas offense. The Longhorns are just barely over 100 total yards for the game. We're nearing the end of the third quarter. Play fake. Manning in the pocket, took a hit, delivers the ball wide open across the middle. And a big gain into Kentucky territory for Emmett Mosley, who's finally getting healthy. Texas is running up to the line of scrimmage and trying to go fast. That was a gain of 31 yards.
Well, you see the power of what play action can do right after a successful run play. Arch Manning does a great job of really selling run. There's a safety blitz. It freezes the linebackers and it allows the wide receiver to get to the second level. I really like that throw, and great play design by Steve Sarkisian.
He took a real hit delivering that ball too. I know his receiver was open, but that was a big play for Texas immediately after giving up the field goal into Kentucky territory. Manning across the middle, incomplete. Man, he had Jack Endries wide open.
That's just a miss. That's just an off-target throw. There's nothing else you can say about it. You said it, Flem. Jack Endries, the tight end, is wide open coming off the play action. There is not a Kentucky Wildcat within 15 yards of him, and Arch Manning knows it. That's one he needs to hit.
So he's done some good tonight. It's not all been, but he has missed a few. And that was a big miss. Wisner in the backfield, handed off to him, and a cut to get a couple of yards, maybe 3.5 on second down, third down coming up.
I tell you what, all things go through this run game. You saw the big play action pass that came right after a successful run. This is a Texas team going back to last year. They're 16-1 when they rush for more than 100 yards in a game. When they don't, they're 1-4. So all things go through the run game here. It'll be interesting to see what Texas elects to do here. If this is 4-down territory, I expect them to keep it on the ground with Wisner or Arch Manning. If it's not, you gotta hope Arch Manning, if you're a Texas fan, can pick it up with his arm.
Maybe the loudest it's been on this 3rd and 6. Manning pressured. Manning tried to get rid of it, and the ball, he did throw it, it looked to me. It comes loose. That should be an incomplete pass as he was going down. It's 4th down and 6.
Well, I love the defense by Brad White. He's showing 6 guys up at the start of the snap, but what happens is when the ball snapped, it's Ty Bryant who blitzes. He's not accounted for in this pass protection by Texas. Just a 5-man pass protection. Kentucky bringing one more than the Longhorns can handle. That was an excellent play design by Brad White to force the field goal situation on the Longhorns.
This is interesting, right? They first showed a look of a punt, and then Shipley was out there on the field. This is a long field goal try. 53 yards. Kick is up and good. How about Mason Shipley? Here's a reason they have huge confidence in him. So it wasn't necessarily pretty at the end of that drive for Texas, but they turned it into 3 points. Some more scenes from our day yesterday. We didn't buy any hats, though. Now 2:05 in the 3rd quarter. Kentucky hanging with Texas. Longhorns with a long field goal to go back up by 7. Texas trying to build upon their win last week. Get the season really going after beating their rivals in Red River. Kentucky, meanwhile, looking for their first SEC win in more than a year. They've dominated some parts of this game, but not on the scoreboard. Kick return opportunity, and not a whole lot of room. They'll bring it out just about to the 20-yard line. And as the Wildcats offense comes on the field, let's get it to Matt Berry in studio. Wow. Seems to me we've had a bunch of those kind of plays recently in college football. Brock, there was the one this morning where Duke was going in for the first touchdown. They fumble at the goal line. Georgia Tech returns it for a touchdown.
Completely changed the outcome of that game.
I thought it really did. First play on this drive for Kentucky, and Willie Rodriguez with the catch. Wildcats down by a touchdown, under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter.
Well, we're going to see if Cutter Boley can build upon the success he had last drive. I really thought Bush Hamden did a really good job with his young quarterback, keeping him in good spots. He moved the pocket for him. They got the run game going a bit. We'll see if Kentucky can go get some more points here on this drive.
Jason Patterson in the backfield alongside Boley. We saw Seth McGowan, the starting running back, headed towards the locker room a few moments ago. Swing pass to Patterson and beautifully defended. Man, Trey Moore was there, and a big loss on second down.
Well, Trey Moore just completely got around the tight end, Willie Rodriguez. Bush Hamden just trying to work a little perimeter swing screen, and Trey Moore was having none of it at 6'3", 250 pounds. just gets right by the tight end and creates a massive negative play.
Another big negative play for the Texas defense. That, in a lot of ways, has been their key to this whole game.
Well, and that's just a drive killer. You can't go backwards on second down. Not a lot of calls on your call sheet at 3rd and 14.
Against this kind of defense, no. Throw across the middle, incomplete, off the hands of Rodriguez's tight end. And just like that, the drive is going to come to an end.
And that's what happens against a Pete Kwiatkowski defense. If you get behind the sticks on 1st and 2nd down, he's going to heat you up on 3rd down. He's going to bring pressure like he did. He's going to force a quick throw. You're going to play good tight man coverage behind it, and your drive's over. So you got to give PK right there a lot of credit in that Texas defense.
Now you got Niblett back there. He's been maybe the best weapon for Texas all game as the punt returner in a spot where you would figure LaRosse does not want to give him a chance to return one. LaRosse trying to angle that one, and it's angled enough to force Niblett to signal fair catch. I mean, look, we use the cartoon. It's kind of cute, but I do think when you're the quarterback in a place like Texas, it can be like riding a bucking bull. You have a week where you're great, you hang on for dear life, you get kicked off in those performances like the one in Gainesville in Florida. I don't know how you describe this one. I mean, obviously against Oklahoma, a whole lot better for Arch Manning. It feels like he's hanging on for dear life here tonight.
You know, it really does. And whether it's a bull ride or a roller coaster ride, it's been up and down for Arch Manning this season. There's no other way to cut it. I think early on some of the criticism was a bit unfair if you look at his supporting cast and their youth. But he's really struggling here tonight.
I mean, look at that play. That was blown up from the moment it started. And Arch just had to spike it toward the feet of his running back.
You know, and I think the biggest thing, it's just a lack of consistency. I mean, you've seen some great throws tonight. You saw a couple great throws a week ago and even against Florida that we showed in the open. But then every once in a while, he'll just miss something. There was a series ago, wide open tight end and Jack Endries, and just completely whiffs on the pass. So I think it's just been a lack of consistency for this Texas offense through the first half of the season.
2nd and 10, Longhorns from their own 32, leading by a touchdown, final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Manning in the pocket. Manning will throw on the run, incomplete. Trying to hit Livingston. It's 3rd down.
Well, 3rd down has certainly been a struggle tonight for the Texas Longhorns. Their average yards to gain is just right under 8 yards for the game. And when you're living in that type of 3rd down in distance, it's really tough on a play caller and an offensive unit to pick up first downs. We'll see if Brad White and his defense are able to get off the field here.
Manning just 1 for his last 7 throwing the ball on 3rd and long. Pressure comes, and Manning can't get away. I mean, that's not on the quarterback. He just got enveloped, and the Kentucky defense with a very big play, their 3rd sack of the night.
Well, this Kentucky defense, they're really getting going, and I think it all starts with the front. The big fella up front, number 92, the nose tackle, Khalil Saunders, did an excellent job of winning on the backup center tonight, Connor Robertson. And what a stop for Kentucky.
Wildcats with a chance here as we go to the 4th quarter under the lights in Lexington, down by just a touchdown to Texas. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime. You're watching the SEC on ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Experian. 10-3 Texas, start of the 4th quarter. Longhorns offense has really scuffled tonight against a Kentucky team that hasn't won an SEC game in more than a year. It's 4th and 18, the first play of the 4th quarter. And for the, what is this, the 3rd time in the game when they're trying to punt the ball, Texas can't execute the punt. And that's 5 yards. You're not in good field position anyway. And these Kentucky fans, finally, it's taken them a while tonight. They're into this game now.
I was just going to say, this is the first time all night you really felt the home field crowd for the Kentucky Wildcats. They are alive and well here at the start of the fourth quarter.
Punt on the way, and Bryant, no fair catch, makes the first man miss. Now he's got some room. Across the 40, takes a hit close to the 45, but a nice return for Ty Bryant of 14 yards. Our drive recap covered by Geico. This was the key sequence, Brock, back in the first half. Texas's only touchdown of the night was set up by a brilliant punt return from Ryan Niblett, who almost had a second touchdown return in 2 weeks. And this, they did change it and gave the touchdown run back to Wisner, so he officially gets credit for a touchdown run. That's the only touchdown of the game on either side.
Yeah, and I mean, you see why right there. Arch Manning, 8 of 20 for the game, just over 100 yards. It has not been easy for this Texas offense. Outside of that punt return, they haven't done a whole lot. You have to give a lot of credit to the Kentucky defense and the game plan that Brad White instilled.
Wildcats will throw on first down. They hit the tight end right flat with a couple blockers ahead, and a powerful finish to that run for Josh Caddis. That's a first down, and right away Kentucky's into Texas territory.
Really good play on first down. Somewhere in this drive, I would like to see Kentucky, though, with Bush Hamden. Let's dial up a shot down the field. Everything has been kind of dink and dunk underneath run game, and you get the sense that Texas is really teeing off on that. I'd like to see Kentucky try to challenge this man coverage and push the football down the field a bit.
Patterson in the backfield along with the redshirt freshman Cutter Boley. And the quarterback hands it off to Patterson. Straight ahead run for Kentucky down to the 41 of the Longhorns.
I mean, Kentucky has just earned everything that they have gotten on offense tonight. It has not been easy. Multiple 10-plus play drives. You see only three points to show for it at some point, and that's what I'm saying. At some point, you got to start stretching the field, because you just get the sense that Texas is loading the box. They're playing downhill, and they're triggering fast.
They're not going to allow Kentucky to snap the ball yet. Texas has their personnel on the field now. They get the signal to go. Kind of a high snap, but the handoff executed. Nice move by Patterson into the secondary, down to the 30. Another Kentucky first down.
Well, that's a really good job of this Kentucky offense, just taking what the defense has given them. I just said it, Texas, they've been loading the box. They've been playing a lot of man coverage. Well, that play, they rolled back to a too-high safety defense. They played zone coverage. What's the best thing to go against the light box? The run game. Bush Hamden, offensive coordinator, is really dialed in right now.
First rush of 10 or more yards in the game for Kentucky. That said, the Wildcats have, I think, played this game exactly the way they wanted to play it. They haven't capitalized with points. Down the field toward the end zone, incomplete. And penalty flag comes out. There was contact. The ball went way over the head of Hardly Gilmore to the back of the end zone. There was some contact, though.
Pass interference. Defense number 3. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's on Jalen Gilbo, the senior corner, veteran player. Just kind of a silly mistake. It's going to be an uncatchable pass, but you see he never gets his eyes around. He doesn't locate the football, doesn't know where it is, and just drapes over the wide receiver, Hardly Gilmore, who did an excellent job of winning against man coverage at the line of scrimmage and getting a step.
So a first down, Kentucky, down to the 15. Patterson's given the Wildcats a nice spark. He's in the backfield along with Boley. Handoff, Patterson left side, and he's swallowed up. Texas's defense was all over him there. Zeno Mozolo led the way. It'll be second down and long.
And this is an area of the field I really believe Kentucky's done a good job throughout the course of the season. In the red zone, they're scoring touchdowns on 63% of the drives. Your goal, you see Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator there, you want to be around 70% ideally. The issue for the Wildcats, they just haven't had many trips over the course of the season, but they have been successful when they get down there.
Play fake. Now Boley's going to take off and run. Only room ahead of him. Touchdown, Kentucky. From 16 yards out, And now an extra point away from tying this game in the fourth quarter. The first touchdown of the night for the Wildcats. 5 plays, 56 yards. And the quarterback himself rushes it into the end zone. Big point after here. And the kick is up and good to tie the game at 10.
Well, the hometown kid, Cutter Boley, just made the offensive play of the night for Kentucky. Texas playing man coverage, no eyes on the quarterback. Boley does a great job of recognizing that and scrambling. Huge touchdown for the Wildcats.
We got a ball game here in Lexington. All the missed opportunities for Kentucky, especially in the first half. They have tied this game in the fourth quarter. Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, Stormy Buonantony here from Kroger Field. 10-10 fourth quarter. After the touchdown run by the quarterback, Niblett is going to watch this one go into the end zone. Another touchback. Our look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Capital One. And another week where several of the top teams in the country go down.
Massive. I mean, you look at Miami, that game against Louisville last night, huge win there for Louisville. You know, what really stands out to me, you see Texas Tech going down to Arizona State. You talk the Miami-Louisville game. At this point, you know, are these teams in the ACC Big 12, are they going to start cannibalizing on one another? How many teams are they able to get into the college football playoff when you start talking this? Coming into this week, everyone had Texas Tech as a lock for the Big 12 championship. Now with ASU knocking them off, that's not exactly the case.
Arch Manning and the Texas offense back on the field. That was not a very good snap by the backup center who's playing tonight with Cole Hudson out. Manning did a good job of taking that snap, but Wisner had nowhere to go. No gain on first down.
I'll tell you what, this Texas offense, they're just sputtering. They just feel like they're stuck in neutral. They can't get the pass game going, can't get the run game going. They've only rushed for 33 yards tonight. You see the lopsided time of possession. You got to give a lot of credit to this Kentucky defense, though, playing inspired football.
They have 7 first downs. Wisner, good run there. Didn't look like a whole lot was there, but just falling forward with some momentum. Now 3rd down and 5 for Texas.
And this is so critical for the Longhorns. You can feel the energy in the stadium building. They're behind their home team here at homecoming. Arch Manning has to find a way to keep his offense on the field. He can't put his defense out there. They've been out there way too much in the second half. Keep an eye on Ryan Wingo. He's at the very top of your screen. We'll see if he can make a play here on 3rd down.
3rd and 5. Manning looking left, takes a huge hit. And I mean a huge hit. And the pass is incomplete. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you start to feel for this kid. He's just getting pummeled back there. It's 4th down.
Well, this is an excellent defense designed by Brad White. He's going to create a free rusher on Arch Manning. You see the massive hit he takes by Alex Safari. But he does have an opportunity to make this throw. I get it. It's tough. You're staring down a barrel right there. You know you have a free rusher about to knock your teeth in. But there was a play behind there. Arch Manning needs a hit for his offense in that critical moment. But give a ton of credit to Kentucky for getting off the field.
Wow, the whole feel of this game has really changed. Fair catch signal. And another muff by Bryant. 2nd time in this game. But both times Kentucky able to find the ball. Wow, that was almost disaster for the Wildcats. This is the play you were talking about. That's Bryant, the muffed punt, but Kentucky has it. They'll have it. Tie game. Tie game, 4th quarter, 3 and out for the Texas offense. Brock, I want you to show us what happened on that last 3rd down play.
Yeah, I think the defensive coordinator, Brad White's been excellent here in the second half. You're going to see 5 defensive linemen against 5 offensive linemen. That's going to create a 5-0 call for this offensive line. They're just going to block the big fellas, but then you get the linebacker on the free rush. What needs to happen is the left guard, true freshman Nick Brooks, he needs to slide down as soon as the defensive end peels with the running back. It's called a sift. You need to help out your young quarterback there. because you can see there's a wide open wide receiver on the quick slant if the true freshman left guard and left tackle sift down on the free rushing linebacker.
I mean, he was wide open. If Manning's able to put that ball on his hands, that's a huge gain. And Texas's offense is still on the field. Instead, Kentucky has it. Tie game, fourth quarter, and they're sticking with the young running back, Jason Patterson.
And just to cap it off, I truly believe that third down play is a microcosm of what's happened this season for the Texas offensive unit. It's not all on Arch Manning. That's a situation where the offensive line could have picked up that blitz, and if they did, Arch would have had a chance to hit that slant that could have gone for a huge play. Can't play quarterback by yourself.
Second down and 9 for Kentucky. Momentum on the Wildcat side. And a wide open tight end caught for a first down across the 30 down to the 34. Willie Rodriguez, gain of 19.
Really nice job by Cutter Boley, recognizing the zone pressure by Texas, going away from the blitz, which you're coached to do, finds the soft spot in the zone. And I tell you what, this tight end, Willie Rodriguez, he has done some really good things tonight for this Kentucky offense.
I mean, Arch Manning, we showed his numbers. He's 8 for 21. Cutter Boley against this really good Texas defense is 25 for 31. Now he's made mistakes, and here he runs right into his own man and takes a sack. So a loss 4 on that play. Let's go down to Stormy.
That not the play he was looking for, but Cutter Boley on the sideline for the California cool kid that Bush Hamden told us he was fired up between the rushing touchdown and the defensive stop for his team. He went up and down the sideline saying, we get the ball back, we put this thing away. It is time to finish it.
All right, thanks, Stormy. Good eyes on the sideline. Still a long way to go outside of 9 minutes. Dowdell was the running back. He's now out on the right side of the formation. Empty backfield on 2nd and 13. Pass rush coming, and the ball's out. It's out on the turf. Texas was on it. They had a chance to recover. Let's see this time if they get it. It was Colin Simmons who just beat his man and knocked the ball away. And somehow again Kentucky fell on the ball.
I tell you what, if you leave Colin Simmons one-on-one, you're going to look at him right here. This is one of the best pass rushers in all of America. He is a monster on the edge. That is a really tall task for the left tackle, Pete. And you see the ability Colin Simmons has to change a game. Kentucky's so lucky they got that football back.
It was just kind of a bad bounce. Travis Shaw was there and made a great effort, and now he's the guy who's down hurting. Ball just kind of bounced away. And hopefully Shaw is okay. Kentucky dodges a huge bullet. Like Colin Simmons, what a spectacular pass rush talent he is.
I tell you what, he is a special player. He's really heating up here at the midway point in the season. Coming into tonight, he's had a sack in 3 straight games. And don't forget that this is a guy that a season ago as a true freshman had 9. Super talented player.
So Shaw getting up slowly. He's got 3 sacks tonight, Simmons does, officially now. After the big game against Oklahoma.
That guy is a certified glass eater coming off the edge. You really have to pick and choose your spots when you're not going to chip him, when you're not going to double team him. That was a one-on-one situation with the left tackle. That's really a double-edged sword. You're living dangerously.
I mean, just a true sophomore, the National Freshman of the Year last year. Well, we don't want to speculate on Shaw. You saw him kind of get hit in the shoulder neck area as he was trying to find that football. All right, so he'll head off the field, and while we have another moment, let's go right back down to Stormy.
Yeah, we've talked about how Kentucky running back Seth McGowan had to go to the locker room with a shoulder injury. I just got word he's been taken to the hospital for a CT scan, and this is unfortunate for McGowan, who's been their leading rusher throughout the course of this year, and not to have him in such critical moments down the stretch.
That's a huge blow for this Kentucky offense. McGowan came into the game top 5 in the SEC in terms of yards per game and touchdowns. Big loss for the Wildcats.
So now what? 3rd and 15 on your own side of the field.
You got to be smart. You're either handing this football off, maybe it's a quick screen, a catch and carry. You got to be smart, play the field position game here. A lot of time left in the 4th quarter.
Texas is looking to make a big play on defense with their offense sputtering. And they're going to get that big play. No! Boley never went down. He's still on his feet, and he dives forward and almost got there. Well, there was no slide for Cutter Boley there. I don't know how he escaped. And now you get 2 players down. I think both are getting up, including Boley, kind of slowly. He's hurting. One of his teammates is hurting. Yeah, now he goes back down. Yikes. I mean, you love the effort, but he is definitely shaken up. It's 4th down at 1.5 yards after the end of that amazing run. But he is in pain. So hopefully Cutter Boley is going to be okay. We're going to step aside and be back to Kentucky right after this.
Introducing SportsCenter for you, personalized every single day. Now available on the ESPN app. Powered by your favorites.
All right, well, before the timeout, the young quarterback Cutter Boley, he was hurting. That right ankle was kind of the area they were looking at. The good news is he hopped up. He was stretching it out, walking on the sidelines. It is 4th and 2, so Kentucky is going to punt the ball back. This is a high but fairly short punt, and it's going to bounce sideways and be down inside the 25. Not a great punt there, but Texas's offense has been sputtering back on the field. Before they get the ball back, how about our Aflac trivia question? Aflac. What is Kentucky's all-time record versus Manning quarterbacks?
Ooh, good one.
There's a lot of games there. There are a lot of Mannings.
Well, we've had 3 Mannings go through already. Okay.
This is the 4th.
We start doing math.
And young Arch back on the field with his Texas offense struggling, especially in the second half. They're going to fake a jet sweep, and Manning trying to get away, loses a yard. And Kentucky's just been all over him. That time Jordan Lovett made the tackle.
I tell you what, this Kentucky defense tonight, they are playing inspired football. They have been suffocating all game long, and it doesn't matter if Texas is trying to run the football with Arch Manning, Wisner, Simon Clark. It doesn't matter. Kentucky has completely shut down the Texas run game tonight.
I mean, look at that number. They're averaging 400 yards a game. They have 138 tonight. Manning stands in there, throws incomplete. He's trying to get Ryan Wingo. It's 3rd and 11.
Just another off-target throw by Arch Manning. And we've seen a couple of these tonight. You don't really understand it. The protection's good. Receivers open. Just unfortunately not able to make the throw downfield. And here at 3rd and 11 late in the game, you got to think Kentucky, they're licking their chops. They're going to feed off this crowd right now. I expect them to heat up Arch Manning.
The pressure comes late, but it does come. He flips it to Wisner, who did his best, but comes up short. Wisner cut it back inside, but gets tackled a good 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. That's going to be another 3 and out for the Texas offense.
Listen, and great effort by Wisner. But when you're Steve Sarkisian, what else are you supposed to do? In these 3rd and long calls, 3rd and extra long, there's not a lot on your call sheet. So you try to call a screen, you try to get a playmaker out in space to create something. But you got to credit this Kentucky defense. Brad White put together an excellent game plan tonight. And like I said, this football team is playing inspired defensively right now.
5 Texas drives in the second half, 4 3 and outs. Another good punt and a different return man. I mean, Tay Bryant, they love Tay Bryant, but too many times ball on the ground. So a fair catch made. And we will ask again and answer our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. Kentucky's all-time record against Manning quarterbacks is?
I'm going to say 1-8.
Oh,
hey!
Wow.
I was sniffing around.
Oh, Archie went down back in 1969, 10-9. Archie went 2-1. Peyton went 4-0 against Kentucky. Eli 1-0, and Arch his first chance to play here tonight. But Arch is on the sidelines, and now the Kentucky offense back on the field. Now, this game we're running down here in the fourth quarter. 6:38 to go. Handoff, left side, power run on first down for the Wildcats. Texas has generated so many negative plays in this game.
They have, but I tell you what, I've been really impressed with this Kentucky offensive line, especially on first down when Kentucky elects to run the football. They've done a really good job tonight of winning the line of scrimmage. They've already rushed for 111 yards.
That was Seth McGowan back in the game. I mean, so apparently they got him checked real quick. Unless I'm seeing things, McGowan gets the ball again. Tries to turn it upfield and gets real close. I think he did get there for it. I mean, I know it's Seth McGowan, unless he handed off his jersey. That's Seth. Let's go down to Stormy.
Yeah, Dave, as I was checking in on Cutter Boley's status, he said, oh, also an update. The scans were good on Seth McGowan. He's coming back into the game. So here we are. McGowan, who has been dealing not on 100% for a handful of weeks, even in this game, injured and coming back out here to try to give a burst to this offense when they need it.
Is there such a thing as a 6.5-minute offense? They got their workhorse running back out there. Thank you, Stormy, for that. This time McGowan had nowhere to go. Maybe got a yard on first down.
How gutsy is this by Seth McGowan to be back out there? Banged up. Stormy just reported on it. But you know what this football game means to him and what this program and his second opportunity here with an SEC school. Really running tough here in the fourth quarter.
Kentucky so badly needs a win. Just a conference win. To do it against a program like Texas would sort of be icing on the cake. They need a win. In the pocket, and Boley scrambling right, looking downfield, is going to throw it. And the pass was, they say, caught. Oh, my goodness. Gilmore somehow caught it and kept a foot in bounds.
The awareness by Hardly Gilmore to get his foot in bounds, the concentration. Watch this throw, the accuracy, but it's really what Gilmore does. Excellent job with his toes, securing the catch, and that is a huge pickup on second down for the Wildcats.
Well, the fans are booing, but Kentucky substituted, so they have now a false start. So after all that good, Kentucky was trying to rush and get the play off. I mean, Mark Stoops is losing his mind coming out on the field. Well, you can tell how much this game means to him. He's got his brother involved. Mike's behind him. He's yelling too. So after that completion, now the brothers are yelling at each other. Under 4.5 to go. It'll be 1st and 15. And they are talking about it. Whatever Mark was bringing up, they are discussing this. I'm glad we showed that. That was a spectacular catch. And a great throw from the young quarterback who's back on the field after being helped off at the end of the last possession.
Huge play, staying calm in the pocket. Things broke down, didn't panic, got outside the pocket. Really good heads-up play by Cutter Boley.
I guess the call's not going Kentucky's way because Mark was trying to be patient and say, hey, they're talking about it. They know what I mean. You got to be careful. You can't get a unsportsmanlike penalty at this point in a tie game. So after all that, they called the false start against the Wildcats. McGowan in the backfield, 1st and 15. Handoff. McGowan gets wrestled by Anthony Hill again. What a game for Anthony Hill.
Oh, monster game. Just monster game. Been all over the field, sideline to sideline, playing with his hair on fire. Had a big-time interception in the first half, really changed momentum. Kentucky had a good drive going. He's been a lot of fun to watch tonight.
11 tackles. One of the more spectacular linebacker interceptions you would ever see. 2nd and 14 for Kentucky.
And this is the moment that those Texas stars need to take over, whether it's Hill, Simmons, Taft. Someone needs to make a big play.
Here comes Simmons, but he went right by the quarterback who flips it up and incomplete. No penalty flag thrown on that play, trying to hit his tight end Rodriguez. Now it's 3rd and long.
Well, you see the formula for this Texas defense right now. They're not going to let the freshman quarterback Cutter Boley sit back there and get comfortable. Pete Kwiatkowski is bringing pressure as much as he can to try to heat up and speed up the thinking this young quarterback.
I mean, it almost feels like the Texas defense is going to have to win this game. I mean, the way the Texas offense is going right now, it's not like the Longhorns have the lead and can just bleed out the rest of the game. This is a tie game.
Boley needs to be really smart with the football here. Don't put your defense in a tough situation.
Simmons again got in there. Boley completes the pass, but the tackle outside the 40 at the 44, well short of the first down. Boley hung in there because Colin Simmons was on it.
I'll tell you what, Colin Simmons has been a menace here in the 4th quarter for this Texas defensive line, really starting to affect the game. But I love what Boley did there. He was smart with the football, made a quick decision to better the field position game here with this punt.
4th and 7. Kentucky would like a better punt from LaRosse this time than they got last time. You got the very dangerous Niblett standing at the 10. Kentucky does not want him to have a chance for a return.
You need to punt it away from Niblett here.
High, angled, Niblett, no fair catch. He breaks a tackle. Here goes Niblett, left sideline. Niblett across midfield into Kentucky territory. They gave him a chance and he burned him.
That is a massive mistake by Mark Stoops and his special teams unit. Niblett is one of the most dangerous returners in all of America. Had a house call a week ago against Oklahoma for 75 yards. A big one tonight in the first half. That's a moment where you need to corner that punt, either put it out of bounds or against the sideline where Niblett does not have a chance at a return. But credit Ryan Niblett. Boy, that kid just makes play after play.
That was a 41-ish yard punt and a 43-yard return. Texas gained field position on that sequence, and with their place kicker 2.5 minutes plus to go, they're close to field goal range. They might be in field goal range. Arch Manning in the offense, back on the field, golden opportunity. Wisner slips through, right side run inside the 40 down to the 36. Now the clock becomes a big issue.
I mean, the 2 biggest plays offensively for Texas tonight is 2 punt returns.
Without Niblett in the punt return game, Texas is not tied and not set up to go ahead.
That's it. That's it.
The whole key to the game. Wisner again in the backfield on 2nd down and 4. They're going to let this clock go down, I think, all the way to the 2-minute timeout. Kentucky has all 3 of its timeouts.
2-minute timeout.
Now that is the 2-minute timeout coming down to the end. 10-10. Can the Longhorns escape with a win?
Time now for the final 2 minutes, delivered by Factor.
Well, the final 2 minutes and drama here in Lexington. Kentucky trying for their first SEC win. Texas looking for their first true road win. Texas's offense in the second half has 1 first down. 2nd and 4 out of the 2-minute timeout. I thought the Longhorns moved. I think they did.
They did. Right side of the offensive line.
Before the snap, false start, offense, number 84. The 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
I mean, he could have called it on right tackle Brandon Baker or the tight end Jordan Washington. Just a critical mistake, especially considering you were in field goal range before the penalty.
I mean, right where they were before the penalty was almost exactly the distance that Mason Shipley hit a field goal earlier in the game. Now, if you didn't get any more yardage, this would be a 59-yard field goal try. On 2nd and 9, Wisner alongside Manning. And a pitch. Wisner left side trying to get to the corner, cuts it back middle and gets tackled. He did get some positive yardage, maybe 2, to set up 3rd down. Kentucky is not using one of its timeouts.
I'm really surprised Kentucky's not burning a timeout here.
Me too. They also have a player down, Ty Bryant. So now the clock's going to stop anyway, just for the moment. Bryant, one of their true leaders on defense. Great kid who loves this program. Another local, grew up in Lexington. Dad played for the Wildcats. You imagine all the people in this program who are desperate for a win. Nobody's more desperate than this kid, Ty Bryant.
I was just going to say, this program means so much to him. Second generation. You just touched on his father, Cisco, played wide receiver here at Kentucky in the 80s. And boy, what a joy he was to visit with yesterday in production meetings. Just big smile, great energy. Ton of fun talking to Ty Bryant. I hope he's okay.
He's hurting, but he'll flip over and hop off the field. 6 tackles tonight for Ty. Have to sit out at least one play. Officials are having a discussion with Mark Stoops here.
Kentucky will use the timeout to avoid the runoff.
So with the injury, instead of the 10-second runoff, with the injury, they will use a timeout. So that's what Mark Stoops wanted to get clarification on. Well, next stop on the F1 schedule, the U.S. Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. How about that? Part of the reason why Texas is having to play away from home so much these days. 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app. Pre-race coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. All right, so 3rd and 7 in borderline field goal range.
We're going to find out a lot right here with this play called by Steve Sarkisian, how he feels about his young quarterback in Arch Manning. Technically, yes, this is a long field goal for Mason Shipley, but he has hit from 60 before. He did it last season. So you are in field goal range as you speak. Do you try to make it better by just simply running the football or calling a quick screen, or do you trust your young quarterback to make a good decision with the football, avoid a sack, and try to pick up a fresh set of downs?
It would be a long, maybe 57-yard try from where it is right now. So I agree with you.
I think defensively, Brad White is going to try to heat up this Texas offense.
Manning in the shotgun. 3rd and 7. Looking to throw. Pressure got picked up, and the pass is complete for a Texas first down. DeAndre Moore, one of the best throws of the game for Arch Manning.
Wow, how about that protection? How about the throw? Great job. You see the offensive line here. You see Wisner sticking his hat in there from the running back position to pick up the blitz. And then DeAndre Moore did an excellent job of winning against man coverage. That was a big league pickup by this Texas offense.
So now Texas can really work this clock. That's only their 2nd first down of the half. The Longhorns. Wisner will get the carry straight ahead. Kentucky, you figure, selling out for the run. They'll stop Wisner, and now Mark Stoops uses his 2nd timeout. With 1:10 on the clock.
The second of the half, 30-second timeout.
So after the 2nd down play, Brock, you only have the 1 timeout. So Texas is going to be able to take a lot of time off the clock before they try a field goal to win the game.
That's right. Mark Stoops and his ball club, they're in a really tough spot. But how about that 3rd down pickup by this Texas offense? You just said it, Flem. It hasn't been pretty at all tonight for this Texas offense. But in the game's most critical situation, what do you get? You get a young offensive line that steps up. They pick up the blitz. Arch Manning has been far from great tonight, but he delivers the strike. DeAndre Moore wins versus man coverage. That's a young offense taking a big stride in a critical moment in the game.
You have so much faith in your kicker there, Mason Shipley. It's almost certainly going to come down to his right foot. 1 for 1 from 53 yards. If Texas plays this properly and doesn't make a big mistake, you can get it all the way down to like 20 seconds or so. Somewhere in that vicinity. 1 timeout left for the Wildcats. You know, around the Texas program, they talk a lot about the week after Red River and how much of a toll it can take. Can you survive and get a win? Manning's throwing the ball, and he completes it in the right flat to Moore, who gets shoved out of bounds. Now that's interesting. because he goes out of bounds and he's a yard short of the first down, the clock does stop.
That is a massive mistake by DeAndre Moore. I love the play call by Steve Sarkisian. Kentucky's thinking it's going to be run. You do a hard sell to the run. You get the ball out to the perimeter after freezing the defense. But DeAndre Moore, you have to stay in bounds. That is a critical error, stopping the clock for Kentucky's defense.
It's a really huge error if Texas can't convert this first down. That's going to give Kentucky life. And Manning's going to keep it. He did not get the first down. And now timeout. Oh, my goodness. So with 1 minute to go, because Moore went out of bounds, instead of maybe like 20 or 15 seconds when you try a field goal, Kentucky, even if Texas makes it, they're going to have almost a minute left if they can get the ball back.
Unbelievable. What a gift for the Kentucky football team from DeAndre Moore. And you know, in that situation, Steve Sarkisian said to his quarterback in the helmet, hey, tell the guys to stay in bounds. You can't go out. We got to keep the clock running. Just a critical error in a big-time moment.
And the first part of this whole thing is you got to kick the field goal and make the field goal. So don't take that for granted, even with a kicker who's so reliable.
But that's the issue. Whether he makes the field goal or doesn't, you just gave Kentucky so much more time to go work, whether that's to try to tie the game or go win the game.
They at least have a chance. The Wildcats do, even if this one goes through the uprights. Remember that 2-minute drive at the end of the first half. Kentucky actually executed it very well. They went 55 yards or so in less than a minute. All right, here we go. From 39 yards out and close to the middle of the field, Mason Shipley. Snap, good hold, kick on the way, and that kick is good. So Texas goes ahead with 57 seconds to go, 13-10.
Ice in his veins. How clutch was that kick by Mason Shipley? Just an outstanding career here at Texas, the senior kicker, and adding to that great career.
I mean, it may be 39 yards. That is a big-time pressure kick. Your team's scuffling. You need a win. There's so much pressure around this Texas program anyway. They're big favorites on the road. And no time to smile for the head coach. The quarterback liked it, though.
Heck yeah, he did. And just think about what was on the line with that kick. With already one conference loss, you see Mark Stoops there, so disappointed seeing that ball go through the uprights. But Mason Shipley, wow, that was big time.
Special teams has decided this game so far.
Absolutely.
2 big punt returns for 88 total yards for Texas. Perfect 2 for 2 on field goals. Kentucky missed a long field goal try themselves, although it was a really long try. That, I think, is the difference in this game. 57 seconds to go. Shipley, who's now the kickoff man. This one is going to be returned, so no fair catch. They're returning it toward the middle of the field, and they end up getting an extra couple yards, but taking 6 seconds off the clock. Mark Stoops, most wins in the history of Kentucky, longest tenured SEC coach, but he and his Wildcats have lost 8 straight SEC games. Trying to end that streak tonight, and they do have an opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a really tough stretch for Mark Stoops the last couple years, but how about this opportunity for the freshman quarterback, Cutter Boley, hometown kid from Lexington. This program means the world to him, and he has 51 seconds to go be the hero tonight.
Can you contain the Texas pass rush when you know Kentucky has to throw the ball with no timeouts? Boley in the pocket. Boley now is going to scramble. Boley will get the first down, takes another big hit. Man, he's taken a few of them. Clock stops with a first down. They'll get up to the line.
No timeouts for Kentucky. You got to get your play call out. You can't waste time here. Great pickup by Cutter Boley.
16 yards on that scramble. Now a throw across the middle, and the cut by McGowan to get the first down into Texas territory.
Get up and spike the football. You are now in field goal range for Jacob Coway.
You want some more yardage, but you got to save some seconds and try to get a little closer. Doesn't look like they're going to spike it. They're going to run a play. So Boley's going to throw it over the middle and knocked away incomplete. There were 2 Kentucky players there. That stops the clock with 27 seconds to go.
Well, if you're Cutter Boley, you're in a great position here. The only thing you can't do is suffer a negative play. So the key here for the young quarterback, get the football out on time. You know, Colin Simmons and that Texas defensive line, they're going to have their ears pinned back coming after you here.
Good reminder. And I'm not trying to kill the young man, but DeAndre Moore went out of bounds. That has given Kentucky this opportunity. And they look like they may at least have a chance to take advantage of it.
You have time to work the whole field here. Just be smart with the football.
27 seconds left. They'll go to the sideline and out of bounds. Out of bounds. The Texas defender there, that was Caddis, the tight end. Gilbo thought he had wrestled the tight end out and kept him in, but the clock stops with 22 seconds to go. It's 3rd down from about the 36.
Really nice effort by Caddis to get out of bounds, to save the clock by stopping it. If I'm Kentucky here, I'm running the football, just trying to make it a better field goal opportunity. I don't want to risk a negative play with my young quarterback.
And if you do that, the field goal team has to be ready to get on the field quickly. The play, McGowan takes the catch and gets out of bounds. There was a penalty flag thrown, maybe offsides. Texas got such a good jump on the ball. They're going to call offsides against the Longhorns.
Yeah, it's going to be on Trey Moore.
So I would think Kentucky would take that.
Yeah, Trey Moore, the outside linebacker for Texas. And that in itself is a critical error for the Longhorns. I get it. Their ears are pinned back. They're bringing in all-out pressure. You want to try to affect this young quarterback, but you have to stay on sides. Those cheap 5 yards here are critical.
And the same principle applies here. 20 seconds on the clock. That young kicker, Jacob Cowie, has to be ready to get on the field in a hurry in case you need it. Texas leads by 3. 3rd and 1. Boley's going to throw, and he completes that pass. That'll stop the clock for a 1st down. Kentucky, are they going to spike it? They're getting to the line quickly.
Now make sure everyone's set. You can't afford a 10-second runoff.
All right, so they spike the ball, stop the clock. Now you have 14 seconds to go, and it looks like they're going to send the field goal team out right here, right now. How about this for the kid from Billings, Montana, Jacob Cowie?
Really big leg. He's been an excellent kicker. Missed one earlier tonight. It was from really far away. But he's been excellent here in his short career for the Kentucky Wildcats.
From 45 yards out with 14 seconds to go to tie this game and maybe set up overtime. Snap, hold, kick on the way. Kick is good. Tie game with 9 seconds to go. And look, we knew it as soon as it happened. When Texas had the ball, they went out of bounds. We knew that was going to save time. What a drive.
And how about that kick for the young freshman out of Billings, Montana, being so clutch in a big moment. We just showed Kentucky, they had lost their prior 8 SEC games. They've tied it up here with just 9 seconds to go in the ball game. What a big time kick by Jacob Cowie.
He earned that smile. So now 9 seconds still on the clock in regulation.
Very confident young man. I asked him pregame, I said, hey, I talked to coach. He said, you can hit from 60. And he just kind of smiled. He said, wherever coach wants to send me out, I'm ready to go.
How about 45? Well, Steve Sarkisian has to be a little sick to his stomach with that last sequence, because they had a chance to take it all the way down to, it's hard to be exact, but 15, 20 seconds left on the clock. Instead, they left Kentucky with almost a minute. And give the Wildcats credit. That was a really, really well executed 1-minute drive.
I'll tell you what, the freshman quarterback, Cutter Boley, He's growing up in front of our eyes tonight. Hometown kid. How clutch was he? And big time throws in that last drive.
Now for Kentucky, they've been good at kicking the ball through the end zone here. You got Niblett standing back in the end zone. Instead, they're going to kind of squib it along the turf. And Niblett will pick it up. That scares you if you're the Wildcats. He gets away from one, from two, from a third, and finally spun out of bounds with 2, now 1 second left on the clock. Man, if I were Kentucky, no way, no how do I want that guy touching the ball.
He is so dangerous with the football in his hands. Probably made the biggest plays for the Texas team tonight, no doubt about it.
I would think Texas now just take a knee and we'll go to overtime. Wow. I mean, it has not been a beautiful game in a lot of ways, but a critical game on both sides, and we go to overtime in Lexington. 13-13. Sark and the Longhorns, man, do they need a win. Kentucky needs a win. We'll be back for overtime.
Welcome to Overtime, presented by Cheez-It.
It's crunch time. In the first overtime, each team gets a possession starting at the opponent's 25-yard line. If it goes to a second overtime, teams again start at the 25-yard line, but must attempt a 2-point conversion after a touchdown with no extra points allowed. From the third overtime on, teams alternate 2-point conversion attempts from the 3-yard line until the game is decided.
All right. Good setup for overtime in Lexington, Kentucky. Texas coming off that great win last week against Oklahoma. Trying to carry all that momentum here on the road, and they just haven't been able to do it. And they did not handle the clock management at the end of that game very well. Cutter Boley in Kentucky took advantage. So now we go to overtime. The referee and the captains will head to midfield. It's a very important coin toss before we start overtime. And we'll see if our referee turns on the microphone. Doesn't seem like he's going to. We know what he's doing, though. Looks like
Texas won the toss and elects to go on defense. Kentucky has chosen to go in this direction.
All right, so Texas wins the toss, and it gives you the advantage if you play on defense first. You know exactly what you have to do when you get the ball. So everybody, essentially, if you win the toss in overtime, that's what you decide to do. Cutter Boley, 16-yard rushing touchdown to tie the game. Shipley, the field goal with, what, 57 seconds left to put Texas ahead, but just enough time for Kentucky to get down the field and set up their young kicker for the biggest kick of his Kentucky career so far from 45 yards out.
I'll tell you what, I've just been so impressed with Cutter Boley tonight. It hasn't all been perfect, but if you look at it, 30 for 38, 236. He does have the touchdown, but also 13 rushes for 43 yards. The thing that has impressed me most about Cutter Boley, he's able to just brush off the negative plays. He threw that interception. He took some bad sacks on third down. It didn't phase him. Short-term memory, went back out there, kept executing, and he's played a heck of a ball game tonight for his Wildcats.
And you're right. The mistakes have been some critical ones and some young freshman mistakes. But against this caliber defense, 30 of 38, plus the scrambles.
It's impressive.
All right, so Kentucky starts with the ball. McGowan has left the backfield. He's out as a wide receiver on the right side of the formation. Shotgun snap. They'll swing it out. Right side with blockers ahead. Turning the corner down the sideline. And we'll see where they spot Kendrick Law inside the 5-yard line. What a first play of overtime for Kentucky.
Perfect play call. Texas shows everyone up at the line of scrimmage, and all-out blitz. They end up dropping out, but get the football out to the perimeter. Texas is short guys. Excellent play call by Bush Hamdan, taking advantage of the aggressive defense Texas was showing pre-snap.
Can you believe that that is the longest play of the game from scrimmage for Kentucky? The first play of overtime. Now it's 1st and goal inside the 5. Handoff and a tackle of Dowdell by Anthony Hill again. These short yardage situations, he is like a missile from that linebacker spot. So now it's 2nd and goal. This time McGowan will come in. I mean, Kentucky offensive line, maybe not quite as powerful as some they've had in the past, but they like their guys in the run game.
They've played a really good game tonight. I expect another strong run here out of Kentucky on 2nd down.
Under center, faking it. Boley getting away. Now scrambling, cutting back middle, and lowering his shoulder pads to get down to the 1. Michael Taff was there to meet him. Oh my goodness. He is not shying away from contact.
I'll tell you what, Cutter Boley putting his body on the line. He's done it multiple times here in the 4th quarter for his Kentucky football team. Really tough running by the freshman quarterback. Nowhere to go with the football. Give Texas credit. They didn't bite on the play action. You see it there. Boley is running into a mountain of Texas Longhorns, and he's not shying away.
So now it's 3rd and goal. You're inside the 2. We can talk about it if they don't get it, but Mark Stoops would have a big decision to make. You probably have to take the points.
Listen, this defensive front for Texas, they're just so big inside. 350, 340, 330. I like a play action. Get the ball to the perimeter. Try to hit your tight end.
Instead, they're going to hand it off, trying to dive over the top. He didn't get there. Dowdell did not get there. He's inside the 1 at about the half-yard line. Now what do you do?
If I'm Mark Stoops, I'm going for it. We've already talked about it. He hasn't won an SEC game in his last 8 tries. You're at the inch-yard line. You got to take this opportunity to punch it in.
That looks like exactly what he's going to do. Well, can you do the Kentucky version of the tush push and help your quarterback somehow fight his way in?
I don't know. It's tough sledding inside, Flem. I like to try to go off tackle here.
Under center, Boley, handoff, diving. I don't think so. He did not get it. What a stop by the Texas defense. Dowdell could not get over the top.
Well, I said it. It is just so difficult to run inside against this big, physical defensive line for Texas. 44, Travis Shaw at 342 pounds. You're going to see him right off the center. Just wins right away, wins his one-on-one. And the rest of his teammates there, Michael Taft going over the top. What a stop by the Longhorns on the goal line.
He didn't even get close. The short yardage defense for Texas in this game has been amazing. And now the Longhorns, because they get the ball second, and you've got a kicker who might be the best kicker in the country, certainly one of them. And now Mark Stoops knows he needs a miracle.
Well, and ultimately that's why I said Kentucky needed to go for it, because for Mason Shipley, he's in chip shot range for him. So Kentucky needed that touchdown desperately. We got to give a ton of credit to that front 7 for Texas to holding strong on the goal line.
All the Longhorns need is a score to win this game and escape with a victory. We got Wisner and Niblett in the backfield alongside Arch Manning.
If you're Kentucky, you really need to sell out here. You need to create negative plays. You got to do anything you can to get the football back or knock Texas out of field goal range.
Manning, handoff, right side run, and a penalty flag thrown. I think that's a hold against Texas. I mean, that's like the one thing that Texas can't have.
Holding. 73 offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Oh, my goodness.
That's on the right tackle, Brandon Baker. And you said it, Flem. What can't you do if you're Texas? You cannot afford to go backwards. You already were in chip shot field goal range. And Brandon Baker right here, you're going to see, makes a critical error with the hold.
As good as your kicker is, I mean, you're talking about even for the best kickers, this is no gimme back here now. You got to get some positive yardage. 1st and 20. Manning is going to flip it. Niblett cuts it. Niblett down to the 30, so that gets 5 of those lost yards back.
I'll tell you what, the Kentucky edge player Sam Green, number 2, he did a phenomenal job of setting an edge and forcing Niblett back inside. If he's not there, that's a situation. We've seen what Niblett can do in the return game when he gets out in space. He had a chance to house call that one. Great job setting the edge by Green, forcing that play back inside.
And for Texas, you just have to, all you have to do is get 3 points and the game is over. 2nd and 15, play fake, and that one is incomplete. Trying to throw the ball to Ryan Wingo.
Well, and if you look at Ryan Wingo, he was acting like he wasn't going to get the football. He's one-on-one in a man-to-man situation. This is an RPO. Arch Manning has the ability to either hand the football off or throw it outside to Wingo. Keep an eye on Wingo. He just kind of gives up on the play when he sees the DB there. That's just a quarterback and wide receiver not on the same page.
So now, I mean, you really got to make sure you don't lose yardage here. I know you trust your kicker. For Texas, this is just ugly. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. It might have hit 0. It came close. Arch around the left side takes a big hit, hangs onto the ball. And now the field goal team is going to come out there. That was very close to a delay of game. Very close.
That was a monster hit by Jordan Lovett coming up from his safety position. Really tough running by Arch Manning. And now the game hangs in the balance of Mason Shipley.
Can he win it despite all of the ugliness for Texas in this game? And this one's about 45 yards from the left hash. I think Mark Stoops is going to use his timeout. We'll see. There you go. So he'll call timeout and make Shipley think about it a little more.
So it's a little thing, but I really like when Mark Stoops called that timeout. He doesn't give Shipley a chance to kick a practice field goal there. That was a good early timeout by Mark Stoops.
If this one goes through, Texas somehow wins this game. Even with overtime, 179 yards of offense for the Longhorns. Time of possession, the clock doesn't run in overtime. 2-1. Almost 40 minutes to right around 20 minutes.
And I think the biggest stat that jumps out to me for Texas, besides the disparity in time of possession, the Longhorns have only rushed for 47 yards tonight. This Kentucky defense completely shut down Steve Sarkisian's run game, and that's where this Texas offense really starts. And if they can't run the football, they just sputter. They were stuck in neutral all night long.
So here we go. Shipley. From 45 yards out to win the game in overtime. Snap, good hold, kick on the way, kick is good. And despite all of it, Texas and Arch Manning gets his first career road win. The Longhorns, their second SEC victory. They improved to 5-2, and that was an escape.
I'll tell you what, just heartbreak for Mark Stoops and this Kentucky football team, but you have to give the Texas Longhorns a lot of credit tonight. It was not pretty, it was ugly, it was gritty at times, but Arch Manning and co. behind the clutch kick of Mason Shipley are going to escape Lexington with a 3-point win tonight.
The kick and the goal line stand in overtime. And Kentucky had a couple shots to punch it in, couldn't do it. And that set the stage for Mr. Reliable, who gets it done for the Longhorns. Bloodied, battered, bruised, probably discouraged, and yet you can smile when you get a win.
How about that breath of and that sigh of relief at Arch Manning, and then just the heartbreak for Mark Stoops. Both teams just laid it all out on the line tonight. We mentioned it. It wasn't pretty. It was ugly at times, but gutsy performances by both ball clubs. But Texas making big-time plays in critical moments. Flem, you mentioned the goal line stop in overtime, how big that was. the Longhorns are going to sneak away with a 3-point win.
All right, on the field with Coach Sarkisian, here's Stormy.
Coach, you told us coming off of the win against Oklahoma how tough this battle would be, SEC night game on the road. How hard was it to earn this one?
Oh, it was tough. Credit to Kentucky, Coach Stoops. They played a heck of a game. We didn't capitalize on a ton of opportunities. We need to play better. We understand that. But I know half the league lost today, and we're one of the half that won, so I'm happy about that.
In a key moment where you had a gotta-have-it stop in overtime, your defense rose up. What did you feel and see in that moment?
Our defense was tremendous all night. That's just indicative of who they are. Those guys that we've been leaning on them all year, and they showed up again tonight.
I know you mentioned tonight would be a big test of your team's maturity. How would you evaluate your group in that area?
Well, I think we hung together, and that's what good teams have to do. You got to stick together, and they hung together tonight. They found a way to win a game.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Sark, thanks to Stormy down on the field. The Longhorns find a way to get it done. A win on the road in the SEC, you don't take those for granted, even if it was not pretty for Texas. Final score in overtime, 16-13 for Brock Osweiler, for Stormy. For all of us, Dave Fleming saying so long. Florida State and Stanford out on the far.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Southeastern Conference on ESPN.